Chicago, where the summer is in full swing. From Michigan Avenue to Millennium Park, to Navy Pier to Wrigley Field, there's no shortage of places to go, people to see, things to do. Each July for 9 years now, NASCAR has been part of the summer scene. Down I-55 in Joliet sits the Chicagoland Speedway, a sparkling and speedy place where it's not the Bulls or the Bears, but Busch, Burton, Edwards, and Harvick hearing the cheers. Order up the pizza and settle in. The NASCAR Nationwide Series from Chicago is about to begin.
T-minus 10, 9, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, ignition.
ESPN welcomes you to NASCAR Countdown. It's race 18 of the NASCAR Nationwide Series, 300 miles from the Chicagoland Speedway in Joliet, Illinois. Weather has been a big part of the story here today. A heavy shower midday drenched this speedway, but the storm passed, the track dried, and qualifying was held, and all the big names took the opportunity to shine. Joey Logano, who won the last race on a mile-and-a-half track, ran the third fastest lap, no doubt bringing a smile to Coach Gibbs. Brian Vickers, who won the Cup pole last night, came within 3/1000ths of a second of getting the Nationwide Series pole today, but he'll have to start second because Carl Edwards was just that fraction of a tick faster. Edwards with his 5th pole of the season. We'll talk with him shortly. First, let's hear from Vickers and Logano. We start with Shannon Spake.
Well, I'm down here with Brian Vickers. I spoke with his crew chief, Trent Owens, on the Nationwide side. He said every time he comes to these mile-and-a-halves with Brian, he has confidence because he just has a knack for these types of tracks, but couldn't tell me why you're so good. So why do these tracks agree with your style of racing?
I have no idea. I've always enjoyed coming to the mile-and-a-half and 2-mile racetracks. We've run well at the short tracks as well, but historically been better at these tracks. And if I knew why, I can assure you I'd like to write it down so I don't forget and maybe even apply it to some other places.
Your strategy for the race, we talk about Chicagoland, possibly fuel mileage. You're starting up front. What's your strategy for today?
I think trying position is going to be very important. I mean, this track is really coming to its own. I think it's going to be a great race today. The groove's starting to widen out. We saw there and even in Cup practice, I was using the 2nd, 3rd, and even 4th groove, moving up the racetrack and really finding a lot of grip. And that's going to help, but track position is always important, and it always will be. So we're going to try to maintain that through pit strategy and having a good car.
Brian Vickers always good on these mile-and-a-halves. He's starting from the pole tomorrow. He's starting on the front row tonight.
All right, Shannon, thanks. We'll catch up to Logano in just a minute. Sprint Cup Series practice literally ended as we came on the air. There's our ESPN pit studio. It's in a great spot overlooking all the action off of Turn 4 and down pit road. We're happy to share our seat with you, so come on inside. Alan Bestwick, Rusty Wallace, and Brad Daugherty. After the never lift off the gas pedal drafting racing at Daytona, the team's transitioned to this mile-and-a-half track where you're almost flat out all the way around, but not quite. Still got to lift off that pedal. What's the fun here?
Oh, everything's fun right here. There's no doubt about that. This used to be a single groove racetrack. You run right on the bottom. And as you heard Brian Vickers say, this racetrack is really opened up now. You can run the middle, you can run the top, and man, it makes for some great racing here now.
Yeah, I was talking to 3-time heavyweight champ Jimmy Johnson about this racetrack, and he says you go into turn 2 and it widens out. So you can go in there elbows deep and still pass. If it gets out from under you, you can catch it. You can just race hard through turn 2.
This turn 2 a little bit unique because it leads to a back stretch that's not a back straight. It's a back stretch. It's not straight.
That's exactly right. It is unique to NASCAR as well. This is the only track of its kind on the entire circuit. A lot of room there so you can really get racy going off that corner.
And Rusty, here's your multi-groove racing too.
Oh yeah, take a look at this. They're running on the bottom of the racetrack here in the middle and the top. It's a real racy racetrack, I call it. You can run all over this place and make passes like crazy. So tonight's race, you fans are going to love it, I guarantee you.
Some of the action we're hoping to see over 300 miles. Now, that's the fun of this place. It does have its challenges too. What are some of the challenges?
Oh, the challenges are the bumps. I mean, this place is very, really bumpy. A lot of the crew chiefs and drivers have been talking about it like crazy in practice. They've been working on the springs, the shocks, trying to get the car to ride over these bumps a lot better. Take a look at Ryan Newman right here on the bottom of the racetrack. Look at the front of that car. Bouncing up and down. It's really tough.
because of the multi-grooves at this racetrack that Rusty was talking about earlier, you're able to run that car harder off the corners. So engine durability is a must here. You're going to be turning almost $9 grand with these motors, so you better have a special bullet in that thing in order to get it to victory lane.
Got to keep it together for all 300 miles.
Yep.
And for some reason at this racetrack, fuel mileage seems to come into play a lot in deciding the winner. We'll see how that works out throughout the night. Now, the guy who's overcome the challenges of this track better than anyone else here is Kevin Harvick. He'll drive that 33 car here tonight. Kevin is the only driver who's won here more than once in Nationwide Series competition. Did it in 2005, driving the Childress 21, and again in 2007 in the Childress 21. Plus, he's got 2 Sprint Cup wins here. Harvick starts 10th tonight. Certainly one of the guys to keep an eye on as this field gets formed up, the grid gets put together, and we get ready to go racing. Again, the drivers, the Sprint Cup drivers just finishing their final practice seconds ago. The schedule a little bit delayed out by some of the rain earlier today, so we'll talk with Kevin here in just a couple of minutes. Kevin just has a knack for finding victory lane at this place. 2 wins on each side, that's big.
It is big. He's got a knack. He loves this place. A lot of drivers out will have their favorite racetracks, and this is Kevin Harvick's favorite track. Like you said, he's won 2 nationwide races, 2 cup races. He thinks he's got a good hot rod, I call it, for tonight. But he also told me this fuel mileage thing you're talking about, he really thinks it's not going to be an issue because of the double file restarts. He really thinks you're going to have to run super hard, and you can't save gas doing that.
Yeah.
I think we have Kevin right now. Jamie's with him. Jamie?
All right, we got him outside. He got some food in about 2 minutes. So it was announced this week you guys formed a technical alliance with Rusty Wallace Incorporated. Why take your single car effort to essentially a 3-car team?
Well, I think that it really helped us probably more than it helped them this weekend. You know, we tried some stuff in the first 2 practice sessions, and there before qualifying we changed all 8 pickup points in the front end, the right front spring, the right rear spring, a right front spindle, and went out on the racetrack and had a good qualifying runs with our Jimmy John Chevrolet. So basically what it does is just, you know, Rusty and I don't have a lot of affiliates to kind of lean on, and we didn't have anybody to lean on. So just gives us something to lean on and hopefully helps both sides.
Well, Kevin Harvick will have a lot to talk about tonight, and he's actually our in-race reporter. And if you at home would like to ask him a question tonight, log on to ESPN.com, search Ask the Driver. Alan?
Okay, Jamie, thanks. We talked about the bumps. Crossing a bump at 180 miles an hour can be unnerving if your car doesn't handle it well. You might even say it can be shocking.
Oh, man, that's awful.
For more on
That's
being fast
awful.
through the bumps, we go to our Craftsman Tech Garage and Tim Brewer.
I can't believe it.
Thanks, Alan. Shock absorbers, very important at any racetrack. But here in Chicago, you're running really fast. But this is a conventional shock package that we use at all racetracks. But for this illustration, we use this shock absorber. When we build the shock absorbers, compression is when the shock's actually going down. Rebound is when the shock is coming apart. We can control the speed of that in both directions. But once we get the car acclimated to getting over the bumps, we want to use the rebound side to actually pull the front of the car down, making more downforce. If we can make more downforce here in Chicago, we're going to get around a racetrack a lot faster.
Very nice, Mr. Brewer. Thank you. Still to come on NASCAR Countdown, Richard Childress Racing got its first win of the season last week at Daytona. Can that launch one of the series' powerhouse teams back into form? Jeff Burton drives tonight. 4 times in 8 tries, the Chicagoland Speedway has produced a first-time Nationwide Series winner. Why? And we'll talk to some good candidates to make the breakthrough tonight. And Kyle Busch, current championship leader, defending winner of this race, whether he's your favorite or not, he's a factor every time he enters. A live interview shortly as NASCAR Countdown continues from Chicagoland.
NASCAR Countdown, brought to you by a Roundup Pump and Go sprayer. Hard on weeds, easy on you.
Richard Childress Racing has been one of the dominant teams in the NASCAR Nationwide Series, but they were 0 for 09 until last Friday at Daytona. Clint Boyer was leading Kyle Busch on a green-white checker sprint when there was a wreck behind them, and the race was done with Boyer scoring RCR's first win of the year. Now, that victory means that in the friendly competition between the 3 drivers who share the Holiday Inn ride this year, Boyer's name will be over the door, no matter whether it's Jeff Burton or Stephen Light in the seat. Burton races tonight from 16th starting spot, Mike.
And catching up with Jeff Burton now. It's been a long time since you've been behind the wheel of a car with somebody else's name on it. What's that like for you?
It's okay. He earned it. You know what I mean? We had a bet, and he earned it. So he did a great job last week, and I was pulling for him last week. Even though I knew I was going to have to drive the car with his name on it, it was cool to see the Holiday Inn Chevrolet win and get back in victory lane. So I'm proud to have his name on the car because they won, and that's a good thing.
Jeff Burton has a chance to put his own numbers up today. Just a reminder, Alan, if you look at his stats, he's raced in 6 nationwide races here in Chicago and has finished outside the top 3 only 1 time.
Yeah, pretty outstanding stuff for Jeff Burton at this racetrack. When you compare the Childress team stats from the past 3 seasons, first thing you note is a reduced number of opportunities to win. Team fielded multiple entries in the past couple of years, but only a single full-time car this year. That's the top line. That said, when you look at the 08 and 09 win numbers compared to 07, it definitely shows the slip from the top of the pack where performance is concerned. We talked earlier this season about the Childress team trying to get back on the level of the 2 teams that have dominated this series this year. Joe Gibbs Racing, Roush Fenway Racing. Does that win last week say they're back?
I don't think so. I mean, and you can throw Hendrick Racing in there as well. When you think of dominance, and particularly in the Nationwide Series, you think of those names. And RCR is synonymous with those names in dominating. They just haven't flat done it. I don't know why. Something's amiss. They're about a step behind each weekend. I think they got a little bit lucky last weekend. They have a great race car driver in Clint Boyer in the car. But something is missing with this race program. They seem to be a little bit behind.
Brad, I got to agree with you because last weekend that was a restrictor plate racetrack that they won on. Yeah. Nothing like the rest of these racetracks. That thing's unique all by itself. But another problem they got right now, they're a single car team. And you saw those numbers earlier. I mean, they got 20 starts versus 92 in 2007. Yeah. I mean, that's a big, big difference, guys. So I really think that Richard's going to have to team up with some other teams to get that car stronger yet. But I don't think a snapshot of what happened last week is going to let you know what's going to happen from here on.
Right. And just by the way, on Jeff Burton, Mike was talking about his stats. He's finished 3rd here 5 times. We'll see if that happens again tonight. Now, I mentioned earlier this Chicagoland track has been a place for drivers to get their first win. 4 times in 8 tries it's happened. Remember this?
Oh, man, that's the 3-time heavyweight champ. He looks a little bit younger in that picture, but he got his win here.
He was a little bit younger.
Oh, man, Johnny Sauter. That's almost in his backyard.
That's right. He's from up here.
Yeah.
Johnny, Wisconsin native, got the win driving for Richard Childress, by the way.
Look at this one. I remember this one. Justin Labonte, I mean, what a great win he had. I was here for that. Watch it. His pop was really emotional that day.
That's Terry's son. And then Casey Mears.
Casey Mears. We'd like to see him get back to victory lane again. That was one of his last victories.
Let's talk right now with a young guy who's hoping he can be the next first-time winner here, Dave.
He was just watching that video, Alan, and Justin Allgaier certainly does hope so. Your crew chief, all 6'4" of him, was jumping around yesterday talking to me about the race car. Are you confident that so close to home here, you can take it to victory lane?
I'll tell you, I've never had such a good Verizon Wireless Dodge. Chad Walter and all the guys have done an awesome job. We worked yesterday on race trim, and you know, we really worked on making sure the car was good over a long run. We were actually as fast on 50-lap tires as some of the guys were when they bolted stickers on. So really excited. It's probably going to take a little bit of time for our tires to come in, so we may be a little bit loose to start with, but I think once the tires get in, I think you're going to see us going right to the front.
High expectations, Alan, and a lot of talent behind the wheel.
Top 10 qualifying run for Allgaier tonight. Justin, part of a very solid class of rookie drivers this year, with the standings for the Raybestos Rookie of the Year award being close. Justin leading Brendan Gaughan by 6 points. Remember that a driver's best 16 finishes during the 35-race season count towards that title. Besides Allgaier, another young driver with a great qualifying run tonight is Trevor Bayne. Shannon?
Trevor Bayne has been fast everywhere we've gone, making his 5th start here this weekend. I know you've turned to some veterans for some advice going into this race. David Rudiman, one of those drivers. What's the best piece of advice he's given you to tackle Chicagoland?
Hold it wide open, he said. I thought he was kidding, but he was serious. Qualifying, we went out there and almost held it wide open, and it stuck. You know, ended up 8th, which isn't bad for one of these companion races. A lot of tough competition out here today, so we're just going to fall in line behind some of those guys that have been here a bunch and make some laps and learn from them. I think we got a really good car on a long run. Aaron's Dream Machine was like 8th or so on the speed charts all day in practice. So, you know, like I said, just learn and make all the laps we can.
Trevor Bayne's rolling off 8th tonight, Alan.
All right, Shannon, I appreciate it. I talked about how the big-name drivers dominate the front of the grid tonight. Ryan Newman driving the Dale Jr. Rick Hendrick number 5 starts 4th.
Always fast, and anything he sits in, he'll be fun to watch.
And Joey Logano, winner last time on a mile and a half track.
Oh, sliced bread, they call him. He's going to run good tonight. He's been running good every time he's in that number 20 car. He's fired up. He's ready to go.
Wanted that pole bad.
Oh, yeah.
Starting on the inside of row number 2. It's NASCAR Countdown from Chicagoland. I mentioned ordering the pizza before. What better place than Chicago for that?
You know what my favorite pizza is?
What?
The one in front of me.
That's good.
How do I like my pizza? Meatball and mushroom.
Definitely I like pepperoni and green olives. I don't know why no one wants to share it with me.
Black olives and mushrooms, my favorite.
I don't eat any vegetables on my pizza. That's kind of a big no.
I like my pizza. When I do eat it, it's just loaded with everything that they got.
It's got to be thin crust, none of that Chicago style stuff. Thin crust, New York style. That's the way you do it.
We've seen Wrigley a couple times in our racing show tonight. Sunday Night Baseball presented by Taco Bell is from Wrigley Field. This Sunday at 8 Eastern Time, it's Albert Pujols and the Cardinals taking on their rivals, the Cubs. Sunday Night Baseball presented by Taco Bell, ESPN, and ESPN 360 at 8 Eastern Time. For more, log on to ESPN.com.
We are getting set to compete for the very first time here at Chicagoland Speedway under the lights. Some slamming and spinning here in the early laps.
See Kyle Busch outside there, takes the lead off of turn 4.
Can anybody catch Kyle Busch?
Kyle Busch will be the winner here in Windy City. Kyle gets win number 5 in 2008.
He's just been hot as a $2 pistol this year. He's just a man to beat.
Well, tonight will be the second time the Nationwide Series races under the lights at Chicagoland, the 5th event held on a 1.5 mile track this season. And looking at some of the numbers from the previous 4 to get an idea of what to expect tonight tells us Kyle spent a lot of time out in front, but he's only won 1 of those 4 races. He starts 6th tonight, Mike.
And a year ago, Kyle Busch was undefeated at the Chicago Speedway, winning in the Cup Series and in the Nationwide Series. He certainly knows what it takes to win here. How good is this car?
I'm not sure. You know, it seemed to get better and better with the more that practice went on there yesterday. But you know, the Z-Line Camry's been good since we unloaded. It was good here last year. It's the same car we ran last fall at Charlotte. So it seems to have a little bit of a demon in it. But you know, hopefully here tonight we can get past that and get to victory lane.
We'll see if he can maintain his streak in his last 5 races. Has not finished worse than 2nd.
All right, Mike, don't like those demons in race cars.
No.
That's not good.
Doesn't sound right.
In the Kyle versus Carl championship fight we've talked about all year, one of the places Carl Edwards and his team have needed to step it up is on the 1.5 mile tracks. Only 1 top 5 for Carl this year in those 4 races, and he hasn't been out front much at all. Perhaps Carl can turn that around because, after all, Jamie, he was the fastest in qualifying.
He was, and he was fastest in final practice. And you know, when it comes to Chicago, fuel mileage is always the issue. With you being so good at conserving, what do you think your chances are for taking the win tonight?
You know, you brought that up a minute ago, and I hadn't really thought of that, but our Ford Fusions get really good fuel mileage, and I just bought a Fusion hybrid. I've been driving that, and I've been working on it. No joke. You can really you can practice on the road. So if it comes down to it, hopefully I'll do a good enough job, and you know, we just want to get this Ortho Fusion to victory lane. We've run very well, and we're making up ground. It'd be nice to get a victory here.
So basically, he feels like his chances are pretty good to take Jack Roush to victory lane for the first time in Chicago.
Edwards starting on pole in that number 64 tonight. Both Rusty and Brad own all or part of a NASCAR Nationwide Series team, and both of those teams have undergone changes during this week. You heard earlier Jamie's interview with Kevin Harvick talking about the technical alliance between Kevin's team and Rusty's team. What's in it for you?
Well, what's in it for me is better performance. I mean, what I want to do is to have fast race cars. That's my #1 goal. Sponsors, U.S. Fidelis and Fiber Energy, they're spending a lot of money. They're doing really good. And I want to produce rocket ship race cars. That's my #1 goal for the fans, the sponsors, and everybody. But the #1 thing for me, I get to share info. I really think that Kevin's team produces some of the... Right now, we're going to team up for a nice 3-car team between the 66, 62, and 33. And I really think that's going to help both of us. I really do.
And Brad, your 47 car has competed in all the races with Michael McDowell driving so far this year. Tonight, Kelly Byers is on board, and it's only going to run a few laps.
Yeah, we're going to start and park the car tonight simply to try to maintain our points position in the top 30. So when Marcos Ambrose, who has a sponsorship opportunity to run the 2 road course races, doesn't have to qualify in. We had a 16-race deal with Michael McDowell, who came in and drove our race car and did a great job. And it came to an end last week. That's just plain and clear. If it had been a better economy, maybe we could have kept the opportunity going. But that was our plan, was to run till last week. And it's not a woe is me story at all. Had a great time. Michael's a good young race car driver. And now we just move on and concentrate on our Cup effort.
And Michael McDowell will drive Randy McDonald's 81 car tonight. You see him there. So mix all your roles together. Team owner, broadcaster, race fan. How do you feel about where this series stands right now?
Number one, I love the racing that I'm seeing out of the Nationwide Series. I love what Nationwide Insurance is doing for this sport also. I really like that. I guess one thing I don't like, and this is not a hit on Brad at all, I don't like all the start and park stuff, all the start and park stuff that's going on because of the economy. It's so hard to find these sponsors, and these guys are keeping those points, starting them up a couple laps, bringing them in. And Brad, I know you don't like racing that like that, but we got to.
Yeah, exactly, and that's a very fair analogy. And I think the biggest thing I see with the sport, it's really hard to judge it at this point in time, simply because of the economic status of our country. I'd like to see the sport have better purse payoffs. I'd like to see a little bit more infusion of cash push back into that purse so the teams can benefit and bring better stuff and give more teams an opportunity to participate. But it's a tough call right now because everyone's struggling a little bit.
Brad, this is big-time racing. This is the second largest motorsports in the world, the Nationwide Series. So it deserves better. It will get better, that's for sure.
Appreciate your opinions. Got to send you up to the booth to call the race. We'll see you in a little bit.
You bet. Thank you.
All right, Rusty, thank you. Our J-Ski News and need to talk about something that happened last week first. There is Pit Road, where the crews will be hard at work tonight. And remember during the Daytona race when Kyle Busch's rear tire changer, Jake Seminara, slipped coming around the car. Watch him. He's changing that rear tire. And when he goes around the car, right when he plants his foot on that line, down he goes. Nice recovery, by the way. Dave Burns, there's a very fine line between fast and fallen on these pit stops.
That's right, Alan. I wanted to start out by just showing you Jake right here. He banged up his elbow a little bit, but he's in the game tonight, so go prepare for the race, would you? All right, Alan, there's a reason why Mom told you to clean up this kind of thing when you spilled it on the floor. That's because after it dries, it's extremely sticky. So before each race, you'll see a lot of teams on pit road actually taking cans of soda and putting a little pinhole in them and spraying them up and down these white lines so that they get good traction. They did that last week, but the humidity got to them in Daytona. Now, of course, Kyle's team, they'll stay sponsor-centric, and they'll make sure they spray their lines with this stuff. And if you've got a favorite sugary drink that you don't want to tell me about and you want to put it in here and pump it full of air, you can spray the line with this stuff. The whole goal is that you don't slip. NASCAR only requires that you don't obscure the line because they have to see them to make sure that you're staying in your box, and they want you to keep your stuff within your own pit box. The whole goal, keep the shoes on the lines, not up in the air.
Thank you, David. Appreciate the look very much at what's going on down there on pit road. Even though the Cup guys nearly all qualified up front, some of the top guys in the Nationwide Series standings are close behind.
Well, it's always good to see Brad Keselowski. He's been running at the end of the last 49 races. Top 10 finish in the last 7.
There's David Reagan, Talladega winner. Good qualifying run for Roush Fenway, starting 5th. Jason Leffler's 4th in points. He's starting 12th.
Good to see old Jason. He is the big-time Nationwide guy. He's taking up for all these guys. Want to see him get the victory lane.
NASCAR Countdown continues from Chicagoland. In just a minute, we're closing in on the start.
NASCAR Countdown, brought to you by Verizon Wireless. Verizon customers, text JSKI to 4ESPN to submit a question to NASCAR Insider JSKI. Standard messaging rates apply.
Chicago, so many sights to see, and what a great sports town. The Bears at Soldier Field, the Hawks and Bulls at United Center, the house that Michael built. Sorry, Brad. And, of course, singing Take Me Out to the Ball Game with Harry Carey. Such a great tradition at Wrigley. This weekend, the Chicago sports scene features NASCAR at the Chicagoland Speedway, where ESPN's live coverage of the NASCAR Nationwide Series is about set to turn them loose for a 300-miler. Check this out. We weren't kidding.
Yep, getting it sticky, baby. Got to be able to get around that hot rod and put them tires on it.
And that is Jake Seminara, the rear tire changer for Joe Gibbs, who went down last week, making sure those lines are covered. Hey, one other guy I wanted to point out, Greg Biffle is a 2-time winner already this year in the Nationwide Series. He was the first driver to qualify. That's a pretty big disadvantage usually. Biff starts 17th tonight. I don't think he's going to stay back there for long.
He won't be back there long. Greg will march towards the front. He'll be a threat to win this race without question.
So weather was a headline today, the heavy rainstorm that moved through midday, but then the sun came out. They had qualifying and Sprint Cup final practice. There was a forecasted second wave of weather, but that kind of dissipated throughout the afternoon, and it looks like we've got great conditions for the whole 300-mile distance for tonight. Brad said there's no way we're racing tonight. What's it going to be? Morton's? Ruth's Chris?
Oh, man.
All right. Let's talk about racing. Let's go trackside for the opening ceremony.
Gentlemen, please rise and remove your hats as the Instructor Staff 2nd Battalion, 24th Marines out of Chicago present our nation's colors. Please remain standing as the Director of Raceway Ministries, Glenn Spoolstra, offers tonight's invocation.
Dear Lord, we just thank you for this day.
We thank you for the opportunity to come out in a country that is free because of the troops that serve us around the world, and we praise you for that. Lord, we just ask for your blessing on the drivers, on the crews, and on all the people that are here tonight, that we can just have a great night and just celebrate this time together. Lord, we praise you for your grace and for your saving knowledge. In your name that we pray. Amen.
Thank you, Glenn, and we thank the proud Marines. Please welcome national recording artist Sarah Darling as she performs our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
So while the drivers begin to attach their safety equipment and buckle in, little Chicagoland racing pop quiz for you here, Brad.
Bring it on.
How many Nationwide Series races has Roush Fenway won at this track?
None.
Thank you for paying attention. Jamie mentioned it earlier.
Correct.
Only one team has more than a single victory here. Which one is it?
That would be Richard Childress Racing.
Very nice. How many?
3.
They're very good. You looked at my sheet, didn't you?
No.
How many times has the leader of the most laps won this race?
4.
No, twice out of 8, which tells us what? You can't be sure what's going to happen until the checkered flag
That's
waves.
right.
There you go. The engines fire at Chicagoland. Next.
NASCAR Nationwide Series at Chicagoland Speedway is brought to you by Verizon Wireless. Get the inside track from Penske Racing, race analysis from our drivers, plus highlights and more on VCast. And Frost Brewed Coors Light, the world's most refreshing beer.
1-6 on 3. 1, 2, 3.
1-6. What's up? Pizza on 3. 1, 2, 3. Pizza!
Pizza? We seem to have us a theme here tonight.
Gotta be motivated,
Chicagoland. Yes, sir. Chicagoland Speedway on what has turned into a beautiful afternoon, and the cars getting ready to race into the evening. The finish under the lights tonight after 300 miles. We've talked to and about a number of drivers. Let's dig into some of the pit side stories for the night. Shannon?
Alan, one thing that teams prepare for here at Chicagoland is a fuel mileage situation. And because the cars do not have fuel indicators like your car at home, there are several calculations that come into play. So here's what the teams know. They know how much fuel can go into the car, between 18 and 19 gallons. They know how much that weighs. They also know how much these cans weigh. So when the car leaves pit road, they bring these cans, they put it on this scale, they measure the weight to see how much fuel they got into the car. It then goes upstairs, crew chief Jerry Baxter, the engineers, they figure out how far they can go based on how much fuel they got into the car. They also take into consideration car conditions, track conditions, caution periods. Sound confusing? Yes, it is. But as long as these guys get it right, because Dave Burns, sometimes the smartest car wins, not the fastest.
Meanwhile, Shannon, Doug Randolph is asking himself, how well do I know my driver? Since I've been with the RCR organization for only 2 months, I've had 3 different drivers, and this is only my 2nd race with Jeff Burton as my driver. Yesterday, they were all over the track in terms of handling, and while they won the race last week at Daytona, as I mentioned, it's only the 2nd time he has worked with Burton. Now, on their side, Burton's experience. He's raced in this series 300 times. He's won 27 times. Could be Alan another one tonight.
All right, David, thank you. And when the crews do go over the wall tonight to service drivers like Jeff Burton, one of our crew cams will be carried by an Illinois native. That's Lee Bob Cunningham, who's from Foreston, Illinois. He's the rear tire changer for Michael Waltrip Racing's 99 car.
That's easy for you to say.
Don't try this at home. I'm a trained professional. Foreston, Illinois, about 120 miles from the track here in Joliet. And we'll wish him luck tonight as he does his job trying to help that 99 car to victory lane. Heavy star-studded field at the front of this grid.
14 double-duty drivers in this thing. But I'm going to tell you who to watch tonight, and that's going to be young Trevor Bain. I think this young man is going to be a superstar in the Michael Waltrip Racing stable. He's got a lot to learn, but he is a racy young man.
That is Bain strapping on board the Michael Waltrip 99 car, again starting in 8th position. Let's go trackside and get him fired up.
Chicagoland, we are down to it. Please welcome Dollar General Corporation Executive Vice President, Division President, and Chief Merchandising Officer, Todd Bezos, as he delivers the most famous words in motorsports.
Gentlemen, start your engines.
All right, bud, you can get up. Fired up there, bud. All right, copy now on channel 1. Come on back, 3, 2. Yes, sir. I got you. There you go. We're going to pass you a bit. Pulled up behind you here. Hold on. We're coming back a little bit.
All right, so the engines are fired. That means it's time for us to find some of that pizza down here in the studio and turn it over to the boys in the booth. Dr. Jerry Punch with Rusty Wallace and Andy Petrie. Doc?
Thanks, Alan. Folks, this field in terms of speed is one of the closest we have seen all year long. Just 7/100ths of a second separating the top 8 cars. And guys, as tight as this field is, how does that impact your race strategy?
I'm going to be real aggressive on trying to keep my track position if I have it. If I don't have it, I'm going to be very aggressive trying to go get it, because this racetrack is so aero sensitive that you don't want to let the race string out and then try to pick these guys off. You want to try to get that clean air right off the bat.
Doc, talking about strategy, first of all, they're going to have to make sure these cars handle good. We've had a lot of rain here. This track has got bumpier. We talked about it in a countdown show. They're going to have to make sure they got really good handling cars for tonight if they want to contend for this win.
This track has produced 4 surprise first-time winners in 8 races, guys. Who are the likely candidates here tonight?
Justin Allgaier. He's so confident in driving that Penske car, and it's about time for him to emerge out as a new winner. This is a great place to do it.
Andy, I've got to go with my heart. I really do. I mean, my son Steven, I'm pulling for him tonight to win this thing. I think he can do it. We got that brand new alignment with Kevin Harvick. There's a lot of things that make sense why tonight should be the first win.
Kevin Harvick is our in-race reporter, the only 2-time winner in NASCAR nationwide competition here at Chicagoland Speedway, is also a 2-time series champion. When we come back, we'll talk to Kevin about the possibility of winning his 3rd at this track.
You got to
Show me the money.
show me the money. Don't be talking no trash.
That is classic Chicago deep dish pizza from Pizzeria Uno. And earlier today, it was Carl Edwards who qualified numero uno. Carl Edwards picking up his 5th pole of 2009 and the 2nd pole at Chicagoland Speedway. He will lead the field to the green flag. Take a look at our starting grid. You'll see that in the top 10, there are 3 drivers who have never won a NASCAR Nationwide Series race. Kelly Byers, Trevor Bain, and the rookie Justin Allgaier, also all starting in the top 10. We will have 9 cars carrying onboard cameras tonight. Charlotte winner Mike Bliss starts back in 15th position. We'll also have a camera with the 2002 Series champion Greg Biffle, who starts 17th, and our pole sitter Carl Edwards. Carrying a camera and starting in 10th spot is our in-race reporter, and that would be the 2-time Chicagoland winner, Kevin Harvick. Let's visit with Kevin.
Hey, Kevin, Rusty Wallace, ESPN, you got us?
Oh, Russell, go ahead.
Hey, Kevin, you won 2 NASCAR nationwide races here. But since then, man, it looks like this track's got a lot of bumpy. Look, we've had a lot of rain this morning, and you're going to start this race during the day and end at night. Man, how is that going to affect your race?
I'll tell you, it's and on top of that, we changed a couple springs with right front spindle, all the pickup points in the front. But I think it's still the same old racetrack. This is a place where we've had a lot of success. Last year we didn't have a whole lot of luck. We didn't make it to the start-finish line, and Tony missed a gear when we ran into the back of me. But I like this place, and I think we'll be good. And hopefully everybody from Jimmy John's is watching and here and having a good time.
All right, Kevin, we got an ESPN mailbag question. It comes from Betty in Baltimore, Maryland. Her question is, you're the only driver with 2 NASCAR Nationwide Series wins here at Chicago. What's your secret at this racetrack, man?
And this is just a place, for whatever reason, just kind of fits my driving style and fits the motor packages and things that we've had over the years. So should have been a lot more than that. We should have won 3 or 4 of them, but we'll take 2, and hopefully we can add a 3rd one tonight.
All right, buddy. Thanks for talking to us. Have a good race.
Kevin has won 2 nationwide races and 2 cup races at this racetrack. Very successful here. Well, let's get some updates from the pits. First on tire wear. Here's Mike Massaro.
Yeah, Doc, tires are definitely on the minds of every team in the garage today. After practice, both sessions on Thursday, many teams noticing excessive right side wear, in particular the right rear tire. Some teams seeing cords in as few as 25 laps. Now, that's a problem when you consider a full fuel run closer to 50 laps. And also factor in this into the equation. These teams only have 5 sets of tires for the entire race. Tire management tonight could certainly be an issue. Jamie?
Well, Mike, we've been talking a lot about Carl Edwards. He was fastest in final practice, and of course, he sits on the pole. Now, as mentioned earlier, fuel mileage, it's going to be key tonight, and it doesn't get better when it comes to conserving fuel than Carl Edwards. So bottom line, they have the fuel mileage, they have the fast car. It's up to this revamped pit crew to nail their pit stops tonight, and maybe they could be well on their way to victory lane for the first time here for Jack Roush. Doc?
Hard to believe Roush Fenway has never won a race here at Chicagoland Speedway. What about some surprises tonight, guys? Who could we see that may step up and surprise us here in the field?
I really think that Justin Allgaier's got a great chance tonight, guys. I think he's going to run strong. He looks good out there to me. A guy probably is really confident with his car.
Yeah, I think Michael Annette is a guy that's getting better every week. He's got a kind of a revamped crew here, too, also, with Mike Hillman kind of taking the helm. He might have his best finish tonight.
Both rookie drivers from what may be the most impressive rookie class here that we've seen in a long time in this series. Our race analysis, it is 200 laps, 300 miles. The pit road speed 45 miles per hour. The pace car will run 55. And the pit window, they're going to try to stretch it. You heard about fuel mileage being pretty important, probably close to 60 laps. Guys going to the back of the field. Scott Wimmer had an engine problem for the weekend. You're allowed 1 engine only for the all weekend. If you change engines, you have to start in the back. And Kelly Byers, the 47 car, adjustments after the qualifying. NASCAR is checking the racetrack here. That's why the pace car has slowed down. Now, typically, they turn the lights off on the pace car when it is 1 to go. The lights are off, but they have the option of turning them back on. Safety crews have pulled out on the racetrack to make sure they've checked the track.
All the hard work on the race car. We just got to keep up with it all night. You know, things got changed all night, so we'll just keep up with it. You guys have been doing great on pit road, so just keep that up.
That is Carl Edwards, and we will go to green this time. Now, the pace car will pull away. Folks, no one has ever won this race from the pole or the front row. Roush Fenway has never won at Chicagoland Speedway. Carl Edwards desperately needs to lead some laps and win races to try to move in on Kyle Busch. We are officially now at the halfway point of the 2009 nationwide season as the green flag waves here in Chicago.
Looks like everybody's got a good start right there. Nice and clean through turn 1 and 2, down to back straight. Everything looks smooth right now, guys.
Ryan Newman up high in the 5 car behind the 32 of Vickers, but on the inside trying to dig down bottom is Joey Logano.
And Joey Logano's had a great car all weekend long. I see Kevin Harvick. He's been pretty aggressive on the outside. They had a cup practice earlier, and I saw a lot of cars moving up on that high side of the racetrack. He may have found something there.
Andy, that's one key thing right there. The Cup Prairie Series practice just got over. A lot of guys got confidence on that second group already. They're not worried about keeping it right at the bottom of the track. See Ryan Newman right there passing outside of Joey Logano. Got a good run.
They are still side by side for third position, and Kyle Busch behind those two, and behind him David Reagan.
I think these Gibbs cars are going to be extremely hard to beat tonight. We saw how strong they've been on these mile-and-a-halfs, and you see there Joey Logano fighting hard on the inside. Got Kyle Busch right behind him, his teammate.
And remember, folks, this race is starting during the day, and it's going to end at night. And as this race goes on, we're going to see a lot of chassis changes. The cars are going to change a lot the way they're handling. And I think the guys you see up front right now could move around. I think some of the cars in the back could get to the front as this track changes a lot of different characteristics.
Ryan Newman trying to hang on. Now looks like Joey Logano will take the spot away. Newman will fall back in behind him in fourth. And Kyle Busch now will start to work on Newman for position. The 49 car of Mark Green and the 04 Curtis Davis have both headed to the garage area. We might want to mention that no driver who has led lap 1 or lap 2 of any of the races here has ever won this race.
So that's like 3 strikes against Carl Edwards, right? No pole sitter and no 1 and 2 lap leader. So doesn't look good for Carl, although he is out front.
And we do know that Carl Edwards is a second half driver. I mean, he won that race in Milwaukee a couple weeks ago. He's on the pole here. He's got a lot of good things going for him, and he thinks he can win this championship and come from behind and catch Kyle Busch.
David Rudeman, you saw, just made a pass a moment ago on Justin Allgaier. That would be for 9th position. There's the 10 car. Rudeman is 9th. Allgaier is 10th. That is Jason Leffler back in 11th.
See Menard sneaking in the picture there too, right up behind Jason Leffler.
Hey, old Paul Menard, he really was concerned about that rain this morning. We had a lot of rain here, and if they would have had a start by points, he was going to miss the race. He was able to qualify that car, and boy, that gave him a sigh of relief. He was really worried about that. But you know, every time I see this 98 run, Andy, that car always seems like it runs good.
Yeah, and Paul Menard is a great talent. He could use a win. He's got 1 win in this series, but he could use another one, and it would help him across the board. I think if you get a win in this series, it can actually propel you in the Cup Series also.
Pretty good battle here, side by side. The 15 car, Michael Annett, the guy you talked about as a sleeper here, Andy, making a pass on the 66 of Stephen Wallace.
Yeah, he looks pretty fast early, making up a few spots, and now he's up behind Jeff Burton in that 29 car.
Tell you, Michael Annett's been a good little driver of late. He's been driving real smart. And take a look at this Vickers. He's been pole cat, I call it. This guy's been grabbing the pole positions the last 3 weeks in the Cup Series on the front row here, and looks strong early.
There's Joey Logano. He's stalking him right here. He's already passed for a few spots, and he's trying to make up some more. He's driven away from his teammate, Kyle Busch.
Joey Logano has never raced at this racetrack. He didn't race in Cup last year or in the Nationwide. This is his debut, although he has been very good on mile-and-a-half tracks.
Doc, you said the key thing right there. Whoa, take a look at Joey right now on the bottom underneath Vickers. Oh, he clears him. Clears him off a turn 2, and that's where Brad Doherty said on our countdown show that back straightaway is arched and it opens up and gives you more room so you can have side-by-side racing. That worked right there.
Watching this battle from high above, courtesy of our good friends at Goodyear, the official tire of NASCAR. New Fuel Max tires help you have a winning fuel strategy.
Now you see Kyle Busch working his way by Ryan Newman.
So Kyle will take the 3rd spot away. It is Edwards, Logano, now Kyle Busch, Vickers, and Newman. Working lap 9 here of 200 at Chicagoland Speedway. And the 6 car has just bounced it off the wall.
Slapped the wall. I don't know what happened there, but I got to go to the garage.
This could bring out a caution because you have a lot of tire rub right here, and you could have some debris coming off of there. NASCAR is checking the racetrack. That's a pretty good lick, though, for the 6 car.
Yeah, he has really killed that right front of that car. They can probably fix it, but it's definitely going to have to go behind the wall.
He's on pit road now.
Hit the wall hard enough, we got to go to the garage. You might want to put 4 tires on it and see, but yeah, I hit it pretty hard.
David Reagan not running the full
Let's go to the
season.
garage.
He's not running the full season, Doc, but this car is in the Owners' Championship chase, and they need to get this car back out in the racetrack to get all the points they can.
NASCAR is saying the track is clear. All their spotters have said no debris on the racetrack, so we will stay green here at lap 11. So you watch the side-by-side battle, 38 and 12. Leffler and Allgaier for 9th position. We'll tell you that Carl Edwards has led all 10 laps thus far. Back to the Dollar General 300 in just a moment. Carl Edwards currently leads the Dollar General 300, powered by Coca-Cola, but he is about to be under attack from Joey Logano, who's just easing in ever so gently.
Well, there's no doubt about one thing. The fastest car on the racetrack is Joey Logano. Last time by, 0.3 of a second faster than Carl Edwards. And Andy, he's been running him down lap after lap, just all by himself.
Yeah, he's caught him pretty quick, but I'm kind of interested to see just how quickly he can get past and whether this aero push will affect him and maybe Carl Edwards can have an advantage for a few laps.
I don't think any of the drivers out there right now in the Nationwide Series right now have had this particular track conditions to deal with in practice. I mean, we had rain this morning, like I talked about. That hurt him. And this first pit stop coming up, there's going to be a lot of adjusting going on to get these old cars hooked back up.
We'll take you back and show you what happened to David Reagan, who's in the garage area in just a moment. We want to keep an eye on this battle up front for the lead here between Edwards, Ford, and the Toyota of Logano. Joey Logano driving the same car he set on the pole with and won at Kentucky the last time this series was on a 1.5 mile racetrack.
Tell you what, as a driver, Andy, I'll tell you what, every time we got the pass now, hooked up on the bottom and gone.
Yeah, that was a nice job right there. He was about 0.3 faster than Carl Edwards until he got right up behind him, and then now he just stalked him and made the move at the right time.
Let's show you now David Reagan in the garage area in the 6 car. After he bounced this car off of the wall back on lap number 10. Let's show you now. Watch the right side of your screen.
Now you see the 6 car just gets real loose. Not enough room to catch it.
Yeah, he just run out of room right there. You know what? There's a lot of room back there, too. So that car had to get big time loose early in the center of the corner to go up and hit the exit of turn 2. But you know what? That'll lead you into it. That corner there, Andy, coming off of turn 2, there's so much room. You pick the throttle up early and you just go, go, go. When you get to that wall, you're like, oh, I'm out of room. I'm over. Mike?
Well, guys, they're still investigating as to what caused this, but I will tell you the right front tire was definitely down. Heavy right side damage. The lower A-frame is bent. They're going to work underneath the suspension, replacing many of those pieces. They do feel, however, they can repair this car and get it back on the racetrack. Meanwhile, David Reagan still in the seat. He has not gotten out of the car, guys.
And as you mentioned, guys, he's not running the full schedule, but the car is running for those owners' points. Joey Logano is the leader. Carl Edwards in 2nd spot. Vickers 3rd. Kyle Busch is 4th. Let's listen to his radio.
I've had it both tight and loose up off of 2. If I try to go in high and cut across, it's loose. If I go in low behind somebody, I'm tight. Entry's not bad. Center of 3 and 4 is a little snug.
And Kyle Busch talking about the condition of his car right now. I'll tell you what, they put all their eggs into last night's practice. They burned through 2 sets of tires, ran 63 laps, changed everything, the shocks, the springs, over and over again. Said they spent 75% of the night tightening this car up. Right now, he's both tight and loose, as you heard.
That's hard to fix if you got it doing both things. I would say to him, I would say, Kyle, what do you want? Do you want it to be tighter or looser? we can work on it one way or the other.
That's a nightmare when a driver says, hey, I got 2 problems, just like you said, Andy. And as a crew chief, if you get a driver telling you that, I mean, what do you do? I mean, you got to pick one or the other. Or I know you're going to try to fix both of them, but what happens, man?
I'm going to wait till he tells me the next time. You'll see a trend which way the car is going the more laps you put on it.
Might mention some cars that have headed to the garage area. The 78 in the garage area, Kevin LePage, the 0 of Mike Wallace, the 47 of Kelly Byers. Now here is a car that is making his way. He's picking them off one by one. That is Greg Biffle in the 16 car. Biffle started back in 15th spot, is now all the way up to 9th. And Greg Biffle, who is a former champion here, loves running this series, and we ask him why.
I think all racers love to race, and there's so much pressure on Sunday. The Saturday is more fun. Saturday is, a little bit less pressure, and the series is a lot of fun because there's a lot of different, there's a bunch of different talents in it, and there's a bunch of different obstacles.
Greg Biffle already a 2-time winner this year in this car, which, by the way, led the most laps at Las Vegas. didn't qualify well, but he has got this car in the wind here at Chicago.
Yeah, you see his telemetry there. He's getting to the throttle wide open, having to feather it just a little bit coming off the corner. The only reason he qualified so far back is he was the very first car to go on the racetrack for qualifying. And, you know, probably just a little uncertainty of where the racetrack was and didn't probably put it all out there.
Andy, exactly right. I mean, if you remember, though, that night, last night, he was second quick. Carl Edwards was first. He was second. He's got a really good car, but, man, I'll tell you what, that is spooky going out the first time, just like you said, to qualify. It makes the driver a little bit nervous when it's the first one on the track.
And we're watching some of these in-car shots, and now you can see it from right here. The hood has got a big buckle in it right there. You see that dent that's jumping up and down? That could hurt you a little bit, but you can just see how much air pressure there is pushing down on the front of these cars.
And there's obviously some reinforcement under that hood that could break loose and fall down in that motor compartment, couldn't it?
Yeah, it could. I mean, you could get some of that going on, but usually you've got a lot of room, especially on that side over there. I don't think there's anything there that would be a real issue. But one thing I did notice is whenever you see it pushed down all the time right here, he's kind of in clean air. But when he pulled up behind the car, you saw that little dent pop back out of it. So it kind of shows you an illustration of how you lose that front downforce when you have somebody in front of you.
Andy, the fans at home may want to wonder, I mean, you've got plenty of sheet metal. Why not make that hood more sturdy than that?
Well, because you have to make it heavier. And you know, that's one thing you don't want to do with these cars. You try to make them absolutely as light as possible so you can lower the center of gravity, and then you can put some weight down low. That's, you know, you could make it a whole lot stronger, but it would probably get a lot heavier. Let's go down to our Craftsman Tech Garage, and Tim Brewer can explain a little more of this.
Thanks, Andy. The key word, Andy, is weight. So what we do, we use lightweight tubing to put all around this area. But most important area that we can enforce is back here at the rear of the hood, because that's where the cowl opening goes, and that's where you get the air. But still yet, he's correct. We want to really lighten the car up, but we want to make it stiff enough to where you can push on it and it doesn't deflect anywhere back around the cowl area.
Thank you, Tim. We saw that deflection, and obviously that helps you in terms of weight, but could hurt you in terms of aerodynamics, possibly in traffic. 27 laps in the books here at Chicagoland Speedway, and early on, it was a charge by Brian Vickers in the 32 car. There's Vickers, who was the Cup pole sitter. Carl Edwards runs second, and Joey Logano is our leader.
Motorsports action, as always, every weekend on the ESPN networks. Tomorrow morning, we'll get you ready for the Cup race with NASCAR Now, presented by 5 Hour Energy, ESPN 2, 10 a.m. Eastern Time. NHRA's Mile High, the Mopar Mile High Nationals qualifying tomorrow, 10 Eastern, ESPN 2. The final Sunday at 7 Eastern, also on ESPN 2. The IndyCar Series on the streets of Toronto, Sunday 1 Eastern Time on ABC, and then the NASCAR Nationwide Series from here is on to St. Louis for the race at Gateway at 9 Eastern Time next Saturday night on ESPN 2. We are caution-free so far through 34 of 200 laps. Joey Logano, the second leader of the race after Carl Edwards led the opening 17. Logano's been out front since. Time for our nationwide insurance up to speed. We start with Dave.
And Alan Crew Chief Dave Rogers loved this kid because of how he learns on the racetrack and applies what he knows. May 19th, he was here for a Goodyear tire test in a Cup car. Dave said he learned more about the line here, but the Cup cars are very different than these cars, and he was concerned as to whether he might apply the knowledge correctly to this car. He's still leading. I think he got it. Shannon?
Dave, Brian Vickers right behind him in the 32 cars, made 9 starts this season in the Nationwide Series, 7 top 10s. Most of those top 10s have come here on 1.5 mile tracks. Trent Owens, his crew chief, told me Brian is just so good on these tracks. He says he drives a very loose race car, likes very little steering wheel input, and just likes to float the turns. That's how he gets his car set up for these types of tracks. Right now, this 32 car, however, just a little bit too loose for Brian Vickers' likings. Jamie?
Shannon, behind him is the defending winner from last year, Kyle Busch. Now, the car he's driving has only been run 3 times in the past. Its worst finish, 3rd. Ironically enough, he just slid into the 3rd position. His car's gone from tight and loose to just tight. Mike?
And Jamie, crew chief Brian Campy and driver Ryan Newman haven't spent all that much time together. In fact, their last outing at Dover, the chemistry just wasn't there. Campy felt like their setup was off a little bit. So this weekend, he spent a lot of time in the Cup garage, watching, observing, trying to get an idea what Ryan Newman wants. It seems to be working right now. He's pretty happy with the car. His only comments, a little snug, but pretty happy, Dave.
Mike, pole sitter Carl Edwards has fallen back to 5th position. The main handling condition is that the car will not turn. But listen to this radio.
Few rounds to the rear here. Make that 5 rounds.
Sorry, I don't mean to jump on the spotters and the crew chiefs there, but 5 rounds to the rear of brake bias is a lot. It can help Carl control the car, but it can also cause him to spin out if he has to jump on the brakes. His spotter, Jason Hedleski, reminded him, hey, I'm going to remind you about those turns before you come down pit road. 33 of Kevin Harvick right behind them. His car has gone both directions during this race. When it started out, it was difficult to turn. Now, it has gone very loose on both ends of the track. They'll look for a major adjustment on this first pit stop for Kevin Harvick. Mike?
And Dave, speaking of adjustments, Justin Allgaier really had to adjust to this racetrack during practice Thursday. Had to work on some of his techniques getting into the corner. His crew chief, Chad Walter, told me that it was a struggle at the beginning of practice, but he mastered it by the end. He got so good at getting into the corner, it really helped him in the center and off. Right now, he's one of the fastest race cars on the track, and really it's starting to pay dividends. Expect him to push it hard toward the end, but right now Chad Walter telling him to take it easy. Katie?
And another man on the move right behind him, David Rudiman, back in the Nationwide Series. It's been quite a while now this year. It's his 5th start in this 10 car. He started 13th. He's feeling pretty good. He's the 6th different driver that's been in this car in a row. So far this weekend, top 10 in practice. Remember last year he led 83 laps. Look for him to be a threat toward the end. Mike?
Well, it's already been a victorious weekend for Greg Biffle's crew chief, Eddie Pardue. His young daughter finally returned from the hospital after a 3-week stay there. He's very happy. Young Laney, however, recovering at home, still on dialysis for her kidneys. Greg Biffle trying to help celebrate the weekend with a victory. Very happy with the race car right now. It's a car he's won with earlier this year, and right now feeling like it's pretty good, just a little bit loose, Dave.
Mike, running in 10th is Jason Leffler, and in practice yesterday, his car was terrible loose. He said it was unpredictable, but early in this run, he radioed in that he thought the set of tires on the car today were helping his car handle a whole lot better. Right now, just a tick tight, waiting for that first pit stop.
And it won't be much of a wait for that first pit stop if we stay under green like this, David. We're at lap 41 now, working the 42nd lap, and that fuel window just after lap 50. If we stay green, we will see the leaders begin to head down the pit lane. So let's take a break. We'll come back and be ready for those pit stops. It's the Dollar General 300 powered by Coca-Cola from Chicagoland Speedway. Joey Logano leads.
Back at Chicagoland Speedway NASCAR Nationwide Series action, Joey Logano is our leader. There's the 20 car. If you just joined our coverage, it was Carl Edwards who sat on the pole and led the first 17 laps, and then Logano made the pass and has led the last 30. Now we are moving in on pit stops, and the crew's on pit road getting ready. You heard Dave Burns talk about in our NASCAR Countdown show the teams had slipped last week on pit road, and they're going to be going over the wall, and our over-the-wall camera guy, rear tire changer Lee Bob Cunningham, who is a local native from Forreston, Illinois, rear tire changer for Trevor Bayne, trying to get that painted stripe there as sticky as he can.
Yeah, he's going to be the guy that goes out there to change that tire. He wants to make sure he's got sure footing. Here's the 99 car we're riding with.
Trevor being shown back in 13th position after qualifying 8th.
He's still having a good solid run, though, guys. I mean, I like the way he looks. He's driving that car smart, and for a young kid like that, he's really got to be careful out there so he gets that track time. Shannon, what's happening down there?
Well, the car is free all the way through the turns for Trevor Bayne right now, but most of the work is happening on top of the spotter stand. Michael Waltrip is actually up there with Trevor's spotter, talking him through the track, showing him on different lines that he can run, telling him to go up high. Up high is not a place that Trevor Bayne ran during practice. He spent most of the time at the bottom of the track, but up high right now is where the grip is.
Shannon, they've had four more races for Trevor Bayne this year because Michael Waltrip, as you mentioned, is trying to get this young man ready to possibly run the full season in 2010 and be ready to go to Daytona next February. Joey Logano is our leader, and there's the 18 car for Kyle Busch running in 3rd position. That's a 34 car of Tony Raines he's going by.
Tell you what, Doc, I wish everybody at home could actually see the lap times that these guys are running out here, because I'm telling you, from 1st all the way down to 17th, the whole entire field is within a 1/10 of a second. These guys are doing great.
I see Kyle Busch. He's got his hand out the window. Well, it looks like he might be waving to his crew, maybe a radio problem. He's pitting this time, that's what we're hearing. But you can see him waving his hand out the window.
Andy, it's a little awful early to pit right now, isn't it?
No, not really. I mean, they have to run their qualifying lap. They can't top it back off, so this first run will be a little shorter.
Pit road speed is 45 miles an hour.
His teammate Logano is on pit road now. Here comes Kyle Busch.
They come down for the first stop. We have stayed caution-free, and you see Kyle Busch jam on those brakes to get down to 45 miles an hour. Jamie.
And Kyle Busch, that's exactly what he was doing, opting to come in right now. 4 tires for him. He was tight and loose. Went to the tight side, so they're going to make an adjustment, fix him up. Full can of Sunoco fuel for the 18 car. Dave?
Leader Joey Logano is on pit road. He'll get 4 tires. The air will be reduced in the right front and the left rear. That should help the car a little bit tight to the center and a little bit free off. Handle better for Joey. They finished the left side tires. He'll try to retain this lead, and he will beat his teammate off of pit road. Jamie?
And the 1 car, Mike Bliss, was moving his way forward. 4 tires for the 1 car. Has had a solid night so far. He's down and away. Shannon?
Jamie, Brian Vickers in that 32 car coming down pit road right now. He says that the car starts off loose, it then goes neutral, and then goes tight. So right now they're going to try to fix him up with air pressure adjustment, and 4 tires for this 32 of Brian Vickers. Great on these mile-and-a-half tracks, and looking for a win for Braun Racing here tonight. Jamie?
And the 29 of Jeff Burton. Good to see him back in the 29 car with Clint Boyer's name on top. 4 tires for him, full can of fuel. See it jack up on the left side there for Jeff Burton. Guys, remember, 3rd place has been the top for him. He wants to better that by 2 positions.
Carl Edwards coming down pit road for his stop as Burton comes out. Here comes Edwards down. He was the pole sitter and led the first 17 laps, pitting all the way down at the end of pit road toward turn 1. Dave.
And Doc, you'll recall his car had gone a bit to the tight side as he tries to land perfectly in his pit box. Looks like he does. Jason Leffler also on pit road at this time. For Carl Edwards, they'll reduce the air in the left side tires and the right front and a wedge adjustment to try to make that car just a little bit freer. That'll make it turn better, and that's why Carl was getting passed by other cars. That's what he needs back. He leaves pit road. Shannon?
Dave, right now the 99 of Trevor Bayne. I told you he was free all the way through. Jerry Baxter, crew chief, going to do 2 rounds down on the track bar. Try to get this young guy a little bit tighter as the 99 is down and away.
First scheduled pit stops. You see Trevor Bayne coming out. That is McDowell behind him. Lagacy in the 11 car behind the 81. The 5 car of Ryan Newman is still on the racetrack. There's a 33 of Kevin Harvick. And Stephen Wallace in for his stop.
See a little fire on their brake rotor. That's from getting on the brakes so hard coming in pit road. That's something that just happens. It'll go out once you get going.
Mark Hollywood Armstrong, the front tire changer. You got to see the camera there. And the 5 car of Ryan Newman.
Out of fuel, stop.
Stretch it just a little bit too far. This is going to be an issue trying to get the car refired. If it fails to start, they'll have to push it, and they can only push it 3 pit stalls away.
I'm bone dry.
All right, and it's 56 laps. He's out of fuel right now, and so we saw our first laps around lap 51. So this is really going to kill him right now because I mean he just barely moving coming down pit road. No tachometer for speed either when the engine's dead.
Yeah, it looks like he's plenty slow enough. He's giving up some time getting down in there. Mike?
And he finally makes it to his pit stall. He'll lock on the brakes and come to a complete stop. They're going to try to free him up a little bit. He's a little bit tight. They're going to make an air pressure adjustment and a wedge adjustment. Also 4 tires and get that car as full of Sunoco fuel as possible. A very costly mistake, miscalculating the fuel as he came down pit road. The 4 tire change now being completed. The fuel going in. They're having trouble though refiring the engine.
4 pounds before you pull away.
Ignition, still trying to give it some gas. Has not been able to get it to completely refire. It finally does, and they're away.
Mike, not a good day for the Junior Motorsports car. 88 of Brad Keselowski was also running out of fuel as he came down pit road. He coasted into his pit box. They did make some changes because the handling of this car is totally off. You see those guys still getting fuel in the back of the car with that Sunoco fuel can right there. We'll see if he has the same problem getting off pit road as the 5 car of Brian Newman. This team was going to wait till lap 63 to come down pit road. Looks like miscalculation on the fuel mileage.
Speed, you got to get more speed. Stop, 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 stop. Back up, back up.
NASCAR will only allow you to push these cars 2 pit stalls. After that, they will
like
stop
the starters
you.
engaging the flywheel pops.
So both the Hendrick engine cars here, the 5 and the 88, having fuel issues. They try to push it a little too far.
Yeah, that's just devastating for the 88 team. That's what happens when that thing doesn't fire and you have to back it back up. I'll tell you what they did with the 5 team was textbook. You saw that pit stop there. The tire changer, the front tire changer, actually carried his own tire while the tire carrier took the little gas bottle over and helped fire it up. I just thought that was just executed perfectly under a lot of stress. You see the car comes in out of fuel. The tire changer is actually carrying his own tire out to the right front, while the tire carrier that normally does that is got the little fuel bottles. He's squirting it in this hose right there at the cowl, which goes right to the carburetor, and it's putting fuel right in the engine. And they're trying to get the thing to take off. If they get enough fuel there, they can get the motor to fire up and start pulling fuel from the fuel cell once they get it in there. Let's go down to our Craftsman Tech garage, and maybe Brewer can show us how that little system works.
Thanks, Andy. What the guys are usually doing is either putting a bottle and putting the fuel into the car, and what we do, we use a can and we actually pump it, but the tube runs down the top of the carburetor and it actually comes through, and you're dumping it right down in the carburetor, and that's the reason the fuel gets in there. And when the guy turns the starter over, he's actually trying to fire it, but you still have to keep pumping that fuel until you get accurate fuel pressure on the dash. Then you can be safe to drive away.
Thanks, Tim. And the 5 car, by coming down pit road and having that fuel issue, will lose a lap. Ryan Newman, who came in as the leader, now being shown a lap down in 18th position.
Yeah, if you look at the 88 car, Brad Keselowski, he's out 2 laps down now in 31st, so it was really devastating for him. They couldn't get it to fire right up.
I'll tell you what, there was nothing good that came out of staying out as long as you possibly could. As soon as Joey Logano hit pit road, these guys should have come right into their bumper, because everybody that stayed out, when Logano come out in those new tires, he took off like a rocket. He's already put 3 guys a lap down that were only, they were pretty far ahead of Logano. Those new tires really got him going quick. A lot of guys made a big mistake by not pitting with him.
Let's listen to Dan Stillman, Carl Edwards, crew chief, on the radio.
The right front tire was low on air. I don't know if he ran over something coming in pit road or if it was going down. It had 35 pounds in it when we took it off.
You always hate hearing that or seeing that, because you don't know that you've made an adjustment to the car based on a tire that might have been given a problem. Dave, you got more?
There is the tire that came off Carl Edwards' right front. There is a puncture mark there. It's circled with a dark pen, but it's definitely down there. I have a question for you, though. Remember, his car was a little bit tight, and they reduced the air, according to their report, in that right front tire. So, Andy, if you're working with bad information based on a puncture, what's that going to do for him? He said it was a little free at the start of the run.
Well, that's the thing, Dave. If you adjusted the car based on that tire going down, you can really get in trouble. But I think what Dan Stillman was saying there was maybe he ran over something coming in, and we still did the right thing. This could have happened as you come off the racetrack on the apron, and then that's why it still had at least 35 pounds in it.
Guys, look at Carl Edwards' eyes. You see him focused on the racetrack. You see him glance up in those mirrors, and he's trying to look all around to be able to see if he can see everything going on the racetrack in front of him as well as behind him.
That's the cool thing about having a clear shield on your helmet and the camera. The folks at home can really see how intense these drivers are driving. He's very, very focused, working that wheel real hard, doing a good job out there right now.
We are past the 1/4 mark here. In fact, 66 of 200 laps in the books. It is Joey Logano, our leader. Logano has led twice for 43 laps. Brian Vickers in second spot. Kyle Busch is third. Kevin Harvick fourth. And now Carl Edwards being shown back in 5th position. Just 11 cars on the lead lap. The sights and sounds of the windy city of Chicago. This place so steeped in sports history and tradition. And as Harry would have said, holy cow, we love coming to Chicago. Historic Wrigley Field. And folks, on Monday night, Major League Baseball's best sluggers will swing for the fences in the 2009 State Farm Home Run Derby live from Busch Stadium. Participants include Albert Pujols, Adrian Gonzalez, Ryan Howard, and Prince Fielder. Who will own the night? The 2009 State Farm Home Run Derby on ESPN Monday at 8 o'clock Eastern Time. For more information, log on to ESPN.com. 1.5 miles Chicagoland Speedway. Here we are at lap 72, and it is Joey Logano, the 19-year-old phenom, who was won a year ago, became the youngest winner in nationwide competition at 18 years, 21 days, and a couple of weeks ago became the youngest NASCAR Sprint Cup Series winner at New Hampshire at 19 years and a month. Running in second spot is Brian Vickers. There's the 32 car.
I tell you, Logano's car is just flat fast. He runs about 20 laps at breakneck speed. Then the car slows down about the same speed as everybody else. But that early run is where he's getting away from everybody.
Yeah, right before that green flag pit stop run there, Brian Vickers had actually closed that lead down to under 2 seconds, and now it's back up to 4 seconds.
So it is Logano the leader. We saw Vickers running in second spot. Logano's teammate, Kyle Busch, who led the most laps here last year on his way to victory. In fact, he's led the most laps the last 2 years here. There is Kyle being shown in the third position.
He's just a tick of the watch faster than Brian Vickers the last lap, and both of them were actually faster than Joey Logano last lap.
Harvick is fourth, Edwards fifth, Biffle sixth, Leffler, and there the 12 car is Allgaier. Justin Allgaier, the Illinois native and rookie, leading driver in the Rookie of the Year standings, back in 8th position. Mike.
Well, Doc, at the top of the show, we told our viewers that the tires were of concern to the teams because they were showing cords during practice. Well, this is the right rear tire from Justin Allgaier's car. 58 laps on it, showing cords. The good news, though, you look up and down pit road, this seems to be more the exception than the rule. A lot of very good tire were up and down pit road.
Now look how high Justin Allgaier's running. He's running right up next to that gray part of the racetrack where there's not a lot of rubber. That'll wear that right rear just a little more than it would be if you're running down low.
Absolutely, Andy. I mean, I've had that happen a million times to me. You get up in that gray area, it's like driving on sandpaper up there because there's no rubber in the grooves of the asphalt. It just wears that tire rod out. But evidently, it just feels better to Justin right now to run up there. His car must be a little bit loose, and it feels better for him up there.
If you just joined our coverage, we have been caution-free here at 76 laps. We've had one venture on the pit road by the leaders, and the 2 cars that had the biggest problems on pit road are the 2 teammates, the 5 of Ryan Newman and the 88 of Brad Keselowski. Both of them running too far and running out of gas. Let's go down to Shannon.
Down here with Tony Erie, senior crew chief for Brad Keselowski. Was that a simple fuel miscalculation? What happened when you guys came down pit road just then?
I don't know. According to the calculation I was given, we could run 62 laps. So I don't know what happened. We ran out of like 54 or 55, so it wasn't even close. The starter wouldn't engage, so he couldn't get the motor to spin over. I don't know what was going on with the starter, but bad deal for the degree car. You know, it's first time out for them. We wanted to have a good showing today. We'll just see what we can do here the rest of the night.
Doc, down 2 laps. This was a team going for a championship, so a very frustrating start to this Chicagoland race.
Yeah, the one thing that I have a problem with right there, I would think maybe they had something wrong with the car, maybe a little bit something wrong with the carburetor that messed up their calculation, but both of those cars, team cars, ran out of fuel on the same lap. This was just a miscalculation, and the engineers are the ones that are taking this data during the weekend, and historical data also. You know how far your car usually runs at 1.5 miles, how far you can go on fuel. Somehow they absolutely missed it on that.
But, Andy, wasn't that a really big mistake, though? I mean, he's talking 62 laps. Joey Logano hit pit road at 51. I mean, that's 11 laps off. That's a big, big difference.
Yeah, that's what I say. And both cars ran out of fuel at the same time. It's not like it was just something wrong with one or the other car, but we've got a good race right here with the 10 and the 12 car.
Battle for 8th position. This is the rookie Allgaier trying to go on the high side of David Rudiman.
That high lane working really nice for Allgaier, but he's way up there.
Ooh, that's
he almost got too far that time.
That's too close for comfort right there. I don't like how high he's running because, you know what, when you run that high, guys, and you slip, you have no exit strategy. What your exit is the wall. You pound that baby, and then you end up in a garage area. That's not good.
Well, that car the throttle. That just moves up across the racetrack.
I'll tell you what, he keeps toying with that baby on top of the track. He is going to hit the wall because you hear that throttle? I heard that throttle going wah, wah, wah.
How'd it go?
Can you do that?
How'd it go?
Wah, wah, wah. He's picking it up, man. He's just spinning those tires off that corner.
Yeah, you can see here how we get on the in-car shot, and we can get a little telemetry up. We can actually see the throttle trace. You see the green right there? That means it's flat on the floor. Gets in the corner, backs off, gives a little brake, sets the car, goes. You see him working that gas right there. Now he's wide open. If you can hold it there, see, he's able to hold it off the corner that time. See how they drive it down in the corner, shut the throttle off, a little bit of brake, not a lot. Now he goes back to the throttle wide open. You can see it's a fast racetrack too. They're 180 miles an hour plus.
And that's in racing right now. In qualifying, that's close to 200 miles per hour. They really run quite a bit faster in qualifying.
We have never gone this far in the history of nationwide competition at Chicagoland Speedway without a caution flag. Last year we went to lap 56. We were at lap 83, 17 laps away from halfway. Back in a moment.
Here's our Verizon Wireless race rundown. Joey Logano started behind Carl Edwards when this field took the green flag for its 200-lap, 300-mile race. Edwards with his series-leading 5th pole of the year, but Logano scooted on by at lap 18.
Boy, he did. Carl jumped out and led 17 laps. As thus far, Joey Logano has led 65 after taking over, and he seems to be checking out on him.
And the Junior Motorsports pair of cars both had the same problem at the same time, ran out of fuel.
Miscalculations by their fuel management people, and that's a huge problem. Put them both a couple of laps down. It's going to be a long evening for them.
Particularly painful for Brad Keselowski there in the 88 car. He was 3rd in points starting the day, and that is going to drop him a good bit further behind if he were to finish where he's running right now. Keselowski back in 26th position, and Ryan Newman is in 15th spot. As you look down on the Chicagoland Speedway, our aerial coverage provided by Goodyear, the official tire of NASCAR. New Fuel Max tires help you have a winning fuel strategy. Approaching halfway, Joey Logano has added a second to his lead over Brian Vickers in this green flag stretch of the race, but Doc, Rusty, and Eddie, we're already coming up on another set of green flag pit stops.
Alan, hard to believe that we are moving in on our second stop of the night, and of course Logano a 4-second lead over Brian Vickers in second spot. There, let's listen to Vickers radio. Caution on the racetrack, and we are being told it is debris on the front straightaway.
Yeah, Brian Vickers was talking about his car probably a little better the first run, it sounded like, than the second run. Sounded like he was pretty happy with where it was at that point, but he's losing too much ground in the beginning of the run.
Well, let's talk about one thing. Remember now, it's getting a lot cooler out here. This sun's down. This race is going to end at night, and I really think this track's going to start changing a lot. This car is going to start handling a lot different than when they started.
This caution flag and break for several drivers who are about to go a lap down. Only 10 cars left on the lead lap. Mike Bliss would have been the next car to be lapped. And now they get to make their first stop of the night under the yellow flag after having made one green flag stop back on lap 52.
There's a lot of cars that are one lap down that could opt for that wave around option to stay out on the racetrack and gamble on a quick caution and come back. But we'll wait and see if anybody takes advantage of that.
Tell you what, I've been waiting for this for a long time to see what a restart like this is going to look like at a track like this.
Okay, we're going to be following Brian Vickers, Kyle Busch, and Greg Biffle on pit road as we watch their pit stops. The first car a lap down will be Jeff Burton, so he'll be able to get back on the lead lap, and then there will be the wave around as we are under caution for the first time, the longest we have ever gone under green in Nationwide Series history here at Chicagoland. Here come the leaders down pit road at 45 miles an hour. Let's go down to Jamie.
And Kyle Busch's car was better after that first stop when they only made air pressure. Now they're going to make an air pressure adjustment to the right front. One turn of wedge in the left rear and 4 tires for the 18. Mike?
And Greg Biffle was saying he was too loose at the start, so they're going to put some air back in the left front. They're going to make that air pressure adjustment. They'll also make a chassis adjustment as well, another wedge adjustment, and a 4-tire change. Shannon?
Like the bottom of your screen, Brian Vickers starts off loose, goes tight, but overall the car is good. No adjustments, 4 tires and fuel. Dave.
Joey Logano's car went through that run perfectly, so just a small piece of tape on the front, and the crew frustrated because they got beat off pit road by their teammate, guys.
Did they ever? Kyle Busch, what a great stop up there for Jason Ratcliffe and the bunch, gaining a couple of spots. Logano will lose 1, Vickers will lose 1. You see Justin Allgaier's Penske team gaining him a position on pit road. It was a debris caution, and that's what brought out the yellow, and the 18 guys celebrating after a great pit stop, putting their guy at the front of the field. Under caution for the first time tonight at the Dollar General 300, powered by Coca-Cola. Interesting now with the new double foul restart and wave around rules, some strategy played out as the leaders came down to pit road. The top 10 all in the lead lap pitted, but some of the guys one lap down and beyond did not.
Yeah, they stayed on the racetrack here because they will be waved around on the one to go. You see these 4 cars, 99, 09, the 98 and the 88, these cars will be able to drive around the racetrack and get back on the lead lap. They will not be able to make a pit stop. They can only run about 10 or 12 laps maximum once they go back green, but this is a chance they're going to take on getting back on the lead lap and getting a quick caution.
Now they cannot, so they're going to roll the dice and maybe get a caution flag, and that's the only shot maybe the 88 at least had is to get back one of his laps back.
Yeah, it's an option. I mean, so they don't get the caution, they're still going to be back down another lap. It's worth the gamble. I think it's a very good gamble, especially on the 88 team's part and the 99 to try to get their car back in contention.
Now the tough thing about this racetrack's been running caution free. So if that happens again, they can only run like 10 laps and they got to hit pit road again, then they're really going to go down. But this is going to be the first time for a double foul restart, and they could crash and get that caution.
Now with the one to go, there go the cars and the wave around, and the leaders will pull up behind the pace car. Let's listen to the 99 radio.
As soon as I cross the green, I can come in and pit, but would probably lose a lap, you know.
No, that wouldn't make any sense. We're going to lose a lap anyway. We got to run for 5 or 10 laps and see if they sort out on the restart.
Right. And two, I just hope we don't get a long green flag here where we're going to have to pit for fuel and nobody else does.
Let me handle it, brother. You just focus on driving it. I'll tell you what to do.
Yeah, this is the first time that these guys have dealt with this new rule, and everybody's trying to feel it out, see what's going to work. I think it's a great move by Jerry Baxter right here. We're looking at him. He's the crew chief for Trevor Bayne. He said, let me handle it. I'm going to see if this works.
Well, in fairness to Trevor, he's asking the question. He's only 18 years old, making his 5th start. So now watch Carl Edwards. What's he doing here, guys?
He's got looks like an extra hose, like a helmet cooler hose. He's going to stick down in his uniform. He has one of those hoses hooked to his helmet up top. But it must be hot out there, Rusty.
It must be hot. I've never seen 2 hoses. Generally, you want all the flow you can out of that air conditioning system to go to your helmet. He's got more flow yet going down his uniform.
Hey, he's getting ready to go to work.
Yes, sir.
Getting set for double foul restart shootout style. It is Joe Gibbs racing on the front row. Kyle Busch is the leader. Now Kyle will start the race. Joey Logano cannot beat him to the start-finish line. Behind him 2 by 2, Vickers and Harvick, Edwards and Biffle. There is Allgaier and Leffler, Rudiman and Bliss. All these cars on the lead lap as we come down to get the green flag here on lap 97. Vickers trying to pull to the bottom of the racetrack and
check
take
out
a spot
Harvick.
away. Look at Harvick up high. They go 3 wide out of turn 2.
Man, that's some aggressive moves right here.
You see how that turn 2 really opens up like we talked in countdown. He went 3 wide off of turn 2 and a lot of momentum down that back straightaway. Now into turn 3, look at Harvick.
Carl Edwards down on the bottom of the racetrack trying to follow Joey Logano, but Vickers in front of Logano is set sail now as he is trying to move in on the leader. There's the battle side by side for 3rd.
You can see now this 18 car is just like shot out of a cannon. It's clean air, a big time benefit for him.
So you got a big race going up front. Now you got a race going in the back. Whoa.
Whoa, the 12 car is real loose getting off turn 2. Just about got Greg Biffle.
Boy, he did. He got really loose there. Guys, I was about to say, now you got a race going in the back for the guys that are a lap down trying to get that lap back, getting that lucky dog position.
Rudiman in the 10 car on the inside of the 38. That is 4th position. That'll be for the 7th spot.
Hey, the back end of that 12, Andy, is really walking around right now. That last time by, same thing.
That's why he's been running so high on the racetrack. He's probably got a very loose race car. Not able to do that, though, early. You lose too much time if you go up top and run that outside group too long. See this group here towards the back. Now, these are some of the cars we're going to keep an eye on because they don't have a lot of fuel. They're hoping for one of those quick cautions. They haven't seen one yet.
It looks like this thing's starting to sort out a little bit, Doc. And if that happens, that could really kill these guys that stayed out. chance in this thing because they're going to have to pit for fuel.
Paul Menard back there in 12th spot. You see Keselowski back. There's the 99 of Trevor Bayne. He is in 13th position. Shannon.
Doc, lap 118 is what Jerry Baxter's telling his young driver over the radio. That's when he will have to come down for fuel.
Well, that's a lot farther than we actually thought they could go. So 18 more laps. Still enough time for something to happen, maybe another caution.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, 18 laps. So when he started this race, it was this restart, about 20 laps. Now, that's a lot of laps right there. I mean, maybe that was worth trying with that many to go.
Third and fourth position, Harvick in the 33 to 20 of Logano.
Harvick had a great pit stop that last time, guys. I noticed that. He beat a lot of cars out. And Jerry, he's got a new involvement with the Cup team, I think, on these pit stops. The 78 car is really helping him now, I guess.
They are using a Cup crew there to help Kevin Harvick. Here's a pretty good battle, 5 and 12. Of course, the 5 car being shown a lap down. There's the 1 car of Mike Bliss, and he is in 10th position. That is Allgaier in 9th, right in front of him.
You see the 5 car Newman, they pitted under that last caution, so they can keep going, but they are still now a lap down, while the other cars that took the advantage of that wave round rule are on the lead lap, at least the way they run this very minute.
This is a great new rule for NASCAR, the double file restarts and the wave round. Add so much more competition on the restarts and get these leaders side by side.
I know it's a lot more for us to keep up with.
I started to say it's a lot of competition, a lot of confusion too to keep up with that. Hey, I got both my shoes off. I'm counting on my toes, and I'm running out of track. What's going on out here, guys?
We are officially past the halfway point. We've had 5 lead changes, 5 different leaders, and there is Kyle Busch.
And then now Kyle's got a huge lead over the second place car. Just having that clean air made just the biggest difference in the world in this 18 car.
This Joe Gibbs team has led almost 60% of the laps this year. Kyle Busch has led the most laps in 11 races, and he has now led 17 of the 18 races we have run in 2009.
And Mike Bliss and Allgaier are going after it here. See Allgaier now moving back up to the top of the racetrack, and now the 20 car gets under Harvick.
That's for third position for Joey Logano. Let's update Kevin Harvick. Dave.
Yeah, we haven't talked about him a lot, Doc, our in-race reporter, and one of the reasons is because his car was not very good at the start of that last run. But then in Kevin's own words, it took off. So he's losing a couple spots now here right at the beginning of the run, but they found something during that last run that crew chief Ernie Koch hopes he can keep applied as Carl Edwards closes in.
Trying to get that 33 dialed in, and Kevin Harvick is the only driver that's won here more than once. He's a 2-time winner in the nationwide cars in 05 and 07, has also won twice in the Cup Series. Carl Edwards behind him, needing to move in. Carl desperately needs to start winning more races and leading more laps to close in on Kyle Busch, who is our leader right now on the race and in the points. Major League Baseball on ESPN continues Sunday night as Albert Pujols and the Cardinals head to Wrigley Field here in Chicago to face the rival Cubs. Sunday night baseball presented by Taco Bell on ESPN and ESPN 360 at 8 o'clock Eastern Time. For more information, log on to ESPN.com. 111 laps in the books here at Chicagoland Speedway. Kyle Busch is our leader. Joey Logano runs second. And Brian Vickers in the 32 car is back in third position. Let's listen in to Brian's radio.
I've got a vibration. It's getting worse. It's only in the corners. All the wheel sights, everything, wheel weights. We're not missing any wheel weights or anything left on pit road. We'll check it out. Be ready, guys. Be ready to pit.
Oh, man, you hate to hear that because it just made that pit stop. You hear that vibration getting worse. Man, I hate hearing that. It means they're probably going to have to come in. Let's go down to our Craftsman Tech Garage and Tim Brewer and show us what they might be dealing with. Tim?
Tell you what, Andy, you know as well as I do, when the lug stud is through the center, you can't have much movement here. But this is a wheel that's been on a car, and when you leave it loose, it has a tendency to waller out right there. And as it wallers out, it has a vibration. And those drivers, they don't like to feel that, as well as it's not going to last real long.
Yeah, that's the problem. If they run too long there, the obvious thing can happen. The tire can come off, but also it ruins those threads on the studs where that thing's been loose. And so you run the risk of actually having another loose wheel because the lug nuts don't really want to go up on that stud where all the threads have been deformed.
So, Andy, they just made a pit stop, and the guys just went a little too fast and left the lug nuts loose, and that just happens a lot.
It does. The guys are under a lot of pressure, and competition's hot down there. They want to try to get their guy out front, and sometimes you push a little too far.
We talk about pushing far and pressure. The guys who got the wave around now got to be sweating bullets because they got about 2 or 3 laps left to run in their fuel window. We're talking about Trevor Bayne and Brad Keselowski, Paul Menard, the guys that stayed on the racetrack and rolled the dice.
Yeah, by our calculations, they're completely out of fuel. It won't be long before they're down pit road now and probably have to give up this track position. They're hoping desperately for a caution right now.
But, Andy, as a crew chief, it was worth the gamble.
Yeah, we're going to see just where these guys come back out. We saw Trevor Bayne was a lap down. After they make this stop, there's Jerry Baxter, the crew chief. We'll see where they are. We'll see what they give up. They'll also have fresher tires when they come back out on the racetrack.
What about the gamble the 5 car took early on? I mean, by running out of fuel and rolling the dice.
Well, here's the other side of that. Ryan Newman is now running in the lucky dog position. If the caution does come out, he'll get a lap back, and he's got a full tank of fuel, so he can run with these leaders all the way to the next stop.
Ryan Newman, a former Cup winner here, won the Cup race in 2003. He has led the most laps in 2 of the 3 nationwide races he has run here, but he has yet to win a nationwide race.
Well, we just got to believe any time now that Baines can be coming down pit road, along with Keselowski and the guys. He said he could run to lap 118. We're at 117 right now. I mean, got to be getting really close for him.
What they don't want to do is push it too far, just like we saw Newman and Keselowski do. That could be devastating. Paul Menard just now coming off the racetrack. He's one of those cars that opted for the wave around.
45 miles an hour. They took a chance, and it did not work out. Let's go down to Shannon.
Doc, it's going to be 4 tires and fuel for this 98 car. Just heard over the radio that Trevor Bayne in the 99 is going to stay out for about 2 more laps. So you see these guys that got the wave around, took the gamble on pit road. They're right now having to come down for fuel because of no caution.
4 tires for Paul Menard. He got a break today because if the rain hadn't stopped, he wouldn't even be in the field tonight. He had to get the qualifying in for him to be able to qualify. He would have gone home, but now they roll the dice and come up short as he makes a pit stop under the green.
Yeah, he lost that lap on pit road after he made a green flag pit stop and got caught for speeding. Had to make another stop. That's why he was actually a lap down.
Coming this time?
Waiting on Trevor Bayne. Here we are with him.
We talked about the fact that we've had 4 first-time winners here in 8 races at Chicagoland Speedway. A number of those first-time winners, 3 in fact, came because they rolled the dice on fuel mileage. So they've Jerry Baxter trying to do the same thing to help his young driver, but now they're going to have to come down pit road this time and make a stop.
Tell you what, this is the reason I was never good. When I went to Las Vegas to try to gamble it all, I lost everything, and I stopped that.
That's Jerry Baxter, the crew chief, telling them what they're going to be doing here. They're coming down this time.
Trevor showing in 12th position. As you see, he's the last car on the lead lap.
Oh, thread the needle. He wants to try to, well, he's going to make another lap.
Here comes Keselowski down pit road now. Brad Keselowski entering pit road.
We'll run out of gas in 1 more lap.
I'm not sure about this. Now Jerry's nervous. He says if we may run out of gas, went 1 more lap than he wanted to go. Shannon.
Brad Keselowski in that 88 car, they took the gamble already and they lost on that fuel. So they're going to come down. They're going to take 4 tires and fuel, obviously, for that 88 car. You see those guys going to work right now. Brad Keselowski 3rd in the points coming into this race. It's been quite a hit for the points for this young driver here today.
And now the 99 will peel off and come down at 45 miles an hour. He is very slow. He may be out of fuel. He is really slow coming onto pit road. Talking about Trevor Bayne. Now he's going to come down at 45, and the rear tire changer for his team, Lee Bob Cunningham, is wearing a microphone and camera. As he comes down, we're going to watch Lee Bob go across the wall and try to change these tires. Here he comes.
You see him go around the car. We're going to listen, see if the engine sounds dead right now. You don't hear the thing running. You hear the air wrench. You can't hear the engine running right there. Making a chassis adjustment right there, looked like he took a spring rubber out. But it was running. We just couldn't hear the engine. He got it fired up and gone.
But he would lose a lap on pit road, so they gambled and lost, but then again, they would have lost a lap had they come in and pitted under the caution anyway. Stay a lap down.
We want to see where he lines back up on the racetrack right here. This will be the telltale on how much they actually lost in this gamble.
And I want to see how much these new tires really do as far as running a whole lot faster than the guys who are out in the racetrack right now. So that's where Joey Logano killed everybody in that first pit stop, how fast he was running on the new tires.
Well, the leaders pitted on lap 93. The leaders, Busch, Logano, Vickers, all those cars that are in the top 10 all came in on lap 93. Let's take a look at their fuel window. And the yellow does represent how much fuel they have in their tanks.
Yeah, there's still about half a load of fuel in the car, so they can go a good bit here. They can go at least another probably 25, 30 laps.
So the leaders will have to pit probably twice more. And, of course, the guys who just came in will also have to come back in with about 20 laps to go.
Looking at the race for the lead, bottom of the picture, top of the picture, the crew chiefs and the brain trusts of the two teams that are competing. Well, of the two cars that are competing, they're actually teammates. Kyle Busch's crew left and Joey Logano's crew right. Bottom of the picture, Joey Logano has taken what was a 2-second deficit to Kyle Busch and chopped it down now to about a half of 1 second.
Yes, he has, and you know, it's a similar theme that we see each weekend. Joey Logano, Kyle Busch, these guys pulling out away from the field and sorting it out amongst themselves. 70 laps to go. Looks like Joey's walking him down a little bit, but Kyle's been able to maintain about that 5-car length between them.
So there's the distance between first and second, and a look at what was the difference between them and where it's gone to now. Again, 3 seconds at lap 108. Logano was behind Kyle Busch, and now 0.3 of a second here at just a few laps ago, lap 127. Dave?
Joey Logano now going underneath the 23 of Robert Richardson. They want to make this car the best it can be for this final run. Don't get too close there, Joey, and try to beat their teammate. Listen to this discussion between driver and crew chief.
65 to a 35. We're catching him. You got to tell me what I got to do to make you take off better, though.
I don't know. I mean, I'm flat-footed 1 and 2 on that start, and I got put 3 wide. I don't know how, but I never lifted.
Full tail happy?
Just a little bit on the start, but I mean, I was faster than everyone once I got in line.
When I got in line, that's the key statement. Remember, this was a double file restart shootout style, and he had to start on the outside line. So really, there isn't a lot to change about this race car. He was flat-footing it, and once he got in the preferred line, the inside, Alan, then he was good to go.
Yeah, you know what one of the hardest things about that is, Dave? They know their teammates got just as good a stuff as they've got.
Yeah.
Look at our holiday and race summary. The real story so far, Logano led the most laps. Carl Edwards led the first 17. Logano went by him, led a good chunk of the race, but then on a pit stop, under the only caution we've had so far, which was at lap 93, Kyle Busch's team took him from third to first, kicked Logano back to second, and Kyle got away in the restart, and since then Logano has been trying to chase him down. Again, just the one caution in the race so far, and we're coming up on another set of green flag pit stops before too long. I remember that we heard Brian Vickers talking about a loose wheel. Well, he's still out there, and he's running in third spot.
Yeah, if it's not getting any worse, he's probably going to make it to this next stop. So that's good news for the 32 team. By the conversation, we thought maybe they had a loose wheel, and so did the team. But what are they saying down there now, Shannon?
Well, the good news for Brian Vickers is that the car is the best it's been all race. The bad news is that the vibration is getting worse. He told his crew to be ready. The guys are on the wall. He says he thinks he has a loose wheel.
Yeah, that's still bad news, but he's running good lap times. That was what we were looking at up here on the board. He was actually faster that lap than the leader.
Andy, with him coming up on pit stops, as are the other leaders now, you were working the calculator during the commercial a moment ago. If they can run 50, they ran 52 laps under the green for the first stop. They can obviously go further than that now, but that would put them about 53 shy of the checkered flag. Can they make it on one more stop?
Oh, yeah, they can make it on one more stop, and that's exactly what the 32 team's trying to do right here is stretch it to their last window here. It's 64 laps to go this time by. If they can get that under 60, they'll probably try to get him down pit road and get that tire off of the car.
So we are about 14 to 16 laps away from what may be the last stop of the night, and they would come in and roll the dice. 64 laps to go. Brian Vickers being shown in third spot. Logano is second, and Kyle Busch the leader. The Windy City of Chicago. If you enjoy sports, this town has it all. So much great tradition in sports here in the Windy City. And of course, we will be headed to another great sports town. Major League Baseball's best sluggers swing for the fences Monday night in the 2009 State Farm Home Run Derby live from Busch Stadium. Participants include Albert Pujols, Adrian Gonzalez, Ryan Howard, and Prince Fielder. Who will own the night? The 2009 State Farm Home Run Derby on ESPN Monday at 8 o'clock Eastern. For more information, log on to ESPN.com. Kyle Busch trying to hit a home run here at Chicagoland Speedway. He pulled off the Windy City double a year ago, sweeping both the NASCAR Nationwide Series and Sprint Cup events, and he has led the most laps the last 2 years in a row, and right now Kyle Busch has led the last 50 consecutive laps.
Yeah, we saw Joey Logano actually come almost to the bumper of this 18 car, and then you see now Kyle Busch has stretched it out almost 2 seconds over Logano. Now Logano's stuck in traffic. You know, you got to think that how valuable that clean air is that the 18 got with that great pit stop. Dave?
And Andy, one of the reasons why Kyle has pulled out that lead is Joey is reporting that his car is tight. It will not turn for him. And the problem is, for this final short run, they want to loosen it up. But if it's a real short run, Joey's reminding Dave Rogers, the crew chief, don't make me too loose, or I might be in trouble.
Well, what's got him tight is having to run behind so many race cars and not having that clean air like that he had early in the race. He just had it his own way for over half the race. And now he's having to play catch up. Like I said, he made his way all the way up to the rear bumper of that 18, but he just could not make a pass on him, and now losing ground.
How many times this year have we talked about these Joe Gibbs cars finishing 1-2? We're talking about Kyle Busch and Joey Logano. Back in April at Nashville, it was Joey the winner and Kyle finishing second. At Kentucky, it was Joey passing Kyle with 10 laps to go. And in New Hampshire, although Joey led the most laps, it was Kyle able to get by him with 30 laps to go and take the victory. We asked Joey Logano about learning on the racetrack here as a teammate.
There's no end that you're learning. You know, you just keep going, and you're going to keep improving. You learn more about your race car, learn more about where you want to be on the racetrack, what to do with your race car, racing other cars, all the racetracks, all that stuff that just keeps coming together. You know, it's neat that you're in a sport like that you can always keep getting better.
Guys, Joey very outspoken about learning on the racetrack, but how much he has learned from his teammate Kyle Busch and how much Kyle has actually helped him.
Well, obviously they're working really good together. I mean, every single week you see him running 1-2, and they've really been stinking to show up lately. There's just no doubt about that. I remember when I used to do that, Andy. The late Bill France Jr. got a hold of me and said, "Boy, you're stinking up my show." You know what they did? They took my car in a million pieces and spread it out over the garage so everybody could see it.
I remember it.
And I'm just about waiting for NASCAR to do that to these two teams, because every week they're putting a whipping on everybody.
That's when I figured out what kind of pistons you were running. You got Brian Vickers now just trying to make it to inside of his pit window. There's 52 laps to go, so you got to think that they could make a pit stop here. The only thing that would keep them on the racetrack would be the fact that they're worried about a caution coming out after making that stop. But I'm sure if he feels something where this thing really gets worse, he'll come down pit road.
Again, he's got a vibration. They think it's a loose wheel. And he, by the way, is the pole sitter for tomorrow night's NASCAR Sprint Cup race. So he's got a lot at stake here trying to make this car, get this car on pit road. Here's a pretty good battle here. The 66 car of Stephen Wallace and the 11 car of Scott Lagasse. You know, these guys are 2 laps down, by the way, and they are battling for 18th position.
Yeah, both these cars ran really fast early in the day. And as this nighttime came, the handling went away, and both of them big time, but they will not stop battling each other. It's just lap by lap, side by side, every lap. Yeah, makes for good racing.
Just because you're not racing for the lead doesn't mean you're driving any easier, does it?
No, they're dying for a pit stop to get these things fixed. They either got air pressures way off or adjustments way off, because both of their cars on that last pit stop went way away. Both of them had really good cars until then.
And the 5 car, Ryan Newman, is on pit road. He is the first car a lap down, running in 12th position. Mike.
And Doc, you'll remember on the last run, they ran the car dry, not taking any chances. Now one of the first cars to hit pit road. Ryan Newman gets to his stall very quickly. The team going to work on the right side. They're calling for a 4-tire change. Ryan Newman saying the car was a little bit too free at the beginning. They're going to try to tighten him up a little bit with a wedge adjustment and an air pressure adjustment as they complete their service on the left side. Off the jacks and away.
Ryan down and away under 15 seconds. By the way, a moment ago, the 61 car in the 07, that is Matt Carter and Mike Harmon, both too fast in segment 1 coming on the pit road. Here's a 27, Jason Keller coming in. Let's go down to Jamie.
Jason Keller's been doing a great job all night long. Still loose on entry, though. Haven't fixed the problem they've had, but he's been running top 15. And the 18, the leader in. How did he get the lead? 12.2-second pit stop last time. It was the fastest all year. Air pressure adjustment, 4 tires, and Sunoco fuel for the 18. Guys, see if it works. Dave?
Jamie, we know what happened last time. That 18 car beat this 20 car off of pit road. Joey Logano hits his marks perfectly. There will be a slight air pressure adjustment for Logano. 4 tires and Sunoco fuel. Crew coming around the left side. They know they lost the race off of pit road with their teammate last time. There he goes again. Kyle Busch maintains the advantage over Joey Logano. Shannon?
Dave, right now, Brian Vickers says that the car is a little bit snug. He said, guys, I need it to come to me quicker in the run. They, of course, are going to take a look at those wheels, see if any of those are loose, because Brian Vickers is saying that that vibration is still there. As you see Brian Vickers pulling that 32 car into his stall right now, and the guys going on the right side. 4 tires for Brian Vickers.
Hammer to lugs, guys. Hammer.
Yeah, you heard
Dave,
him say
60.
hammer the lug nuts. Well, make sure you get them all the way up on the lug stud here so he doesn't have another loose wheel. You see him taking their time here to get it on there, but good stop. Dave?
Carl Edwards, Kevin Harvick, and Jason Leffler all on pit road right now. All will change 4 tires. For Edwards, he was running 4th. His car is tight. They will make a track bar and air pressure adjustment for Carl as he takes off down pit road. Also, Leffler and Harvick away. Harvick's car at that point was really sliding the right rear through the corner. Leffler was very tight off the corner. Mike?
Eddie Pardue telling Greg Biffle he will work on this car all night to get it to where he likes it. It hasn't been the case so far. The car's been too tight. They'll try to free him up with a wedge adjustment, 4-tire change. He's down off the Jackson away. Meanwhile, Justin Allgaier back in. His car has been good on the long runs, but has started off a little bit slow. Takes about 20 laps or so to get up to speed. They'll make a 4-tire change and take on a full load of fuel as well with an air pressure adjustment.
Leaders on pit road. Mike Bliss being shown as the leader, and he comes down pit road. Jamie.
And Mike Bliss doing a heck of a job. He started 15th in top 10 all night. Said they just need to loosen him up. Air pressure adjustment, 4 tires for the 1 car who's looking for a top 10. You remember he won the IROC race back in 2003. Rusty, you know a little bit about that.
Well, I loved it too. A lot of fun, that IROC series.
Got to be careful on exiting. The 27 was too fast on exit a moment ago. Jason Keller. Stephen Wallace in. Mike.
And high hopes coming into this night using a car that they got from KHI. This is an old 33 car. They've been sliding the nose, though. That's been slowing them down a little bit. They're going to call for a 4-tire change, also an air pressure adjustment, trying to make that car just a little bit better as they complete the service now on the left side of that car. And he is away.
Scott Lagasse Jr., guys, looking for a solid run here today. He has not been having very good luck the last couple races for Scott Lagasse. The car has not been handling the way he wants it to in this race tonight, so they are going to make some adjustments to that 11 car.
So, guys, the lead lap cars have cycled through their pit stops, and once again, I am very impressed. Kyle Bunch's crew, Jason Ratcliffe, beat the 20 guys out for the 2nd consecutive time by over 2 seconds on pit road.
Well, the cars are the same. The engines are the same. The drivers are pretty doggone good. You can't expect that the crews are going to be exactly the same, too, because you just can't get that perfect.
Hey, we saw Mike Bliss make his pit stop and only get right side tires. I don't understand that, because it takes a good 13 seconds to get 2 cans of fuel in there, and they can almost change 4 tires in that time. Not much to be gained by getting right side tires under that green flag stop.
It seems like a lot of guys tonight are trying a lot of different things. I mean, the way this double file restart's shaking out, staying out, getting the wave around, a lot of gambling going on tonight here at Chicago.
So with 42 laps to go, it is Kyle Busch after the cycle of pit stops, our leader. Joey Logano, Vickers, Carl Edwards, and Greg Biffle in the top 5. And there are 12 cars on the lead lap.
Very quickly moving to the final stages of tonight's NASCAR Nationwide Series race at Chicagoland Speedway, Joliet, Illinois. Our aerial coverage provided by Goodyear, the official tire of NASCAR. New Fuel Max tires help you have a winning fuel strategy. Bestwick and Brad in the pit studio watching Kyle Busch have a 2.4 second lead over Joey Logano. Kyle's been flawless. His pit crew has been really flawless.
Oh, they've been outstanding, but I'm still not sure. I said a couple of weeks ago, I think Joey Logano's got something for Kyle Busch, and I really believe he's got a really good race car. He's going to be able to get up to him. Needs to get a little bit of lap traffic and possibly another caution, but it's these two guys' show without question.
And watching to see if Brian Vickers can kind of creep back into the picture. Remember that 32 car, who was run basically in the top 3 about all night, had a loose wheel in that last run of the race, maybe backed it down a little bit to keep himself from pushing it too hard. Well, now they've been through a pit stop, and he told him hammer him on the pit stop. Shannon, so he got it all feeling the way he wants it now?
Right now, Alan, these guys down here in the 32 stall, they're checking out these tires. They have not been able to find a loose wheel. But Brian Vickers does say that the vibration has stopped. So vibration stopped, no loose wheel. Brian Vickers running 3rd.
Very interesting. Vickers has had a couple laps that are faster than the front 2, but right now Andy's kind of settled into a pace. Got any ideas for us?
Yeah, Alan, it could be as much simple as a wheel weight coming off, causing that vibration. 9 times out of 10, it's never that. It's always a loose wheel. But in this case, that could have been that. He could have just something, it's like a bent wheel that may have gotten on the car. But right now, he's good. He's making good lap times. He actually didn't slow down that much when he was complaining about the vibration. Still running 3rd. Last time by, he was only 800ths off the lead car of Kyle Busch. And seems to be fine now, so that's the good news.
Okay, that loose wheel, I've never been out there that when the car starts vibrating and it gets worse and worse, that it has not been a loose lug nut. It's always.
Well, he ran 26 laps at over 174 miles an hour, and if it was really loose, it would have been a serious issue.
Absolutely.
Let's update Joey Logano. Dave.
Well, guys, after that round of pit stops, Joey Logano had another good set of tires that came off his car. No real wear on it. But these guys know that that right front tire can be one that you can really abuse based on how you drive the car. And it's worse when you really, really push the car. Listen to Joey discussing that with his crew chief.
Take it easy. We're going to find a way.
I try to save the right front a little bit, or do I go for it? I go for a caution or dig?
Quite a bit quicker than he is. Just maintain this pace.
Maintain the pace. Now, Dave Rogers has still not released his driver to go for it or to dig, as he said, but he better do it soon, guys, because the laps are winding down, but he's got to take care of that right front.
Well, Dave, he's digging right now. He's making good lap times. You can see him passing Joe Nemechek, a lap car. He's making some ground on Kyle Busch right now. He's only 1 second behind Kyle.
And he is 0.5 of a second a lap quicker than Kyle Busch last time by. Now, the 12 car's been digging all night, but a moment ago, he might have dug a little too hard in the corner.
He's been wheeling this thing all night long, Rusty, up in that high groove. He's been kind of risking it.
He's been doing a great job. Let's take a look at this right here.
Boy, if he didn't hit it, it was close.
Yeah, I heard a little bit of metal. And you know what?
With the right rear, but I didn't get the right front.
Oh, there you go. Got the right rear, but not the right front. I actually think I heard the tailpipes hit the wall. They stick out a little bit past the right rear tire, you know.
But he stayed in the throttle, and Justin Allgaier is still in the top 10 in 9th position. Kyle Busch, our leader. Joey Logano is 2nd, Vickers 3rd, Edwards 4th, and Biffle 5th. Now, we told you there have been 7 different winners in 8 previous nationwide races at this racetrack. The only duplicate winner was Kevin Harvick, who won in 2005 and 2007. But it was a year ago that Kyle Busch came here, made that pass on Brad Keselowski early, and simply set sail and said, see ya. Kyle Busch led 101 laps on his way to a win here in Chicagoland. Moments ago here at Chicagoland Speedway, the 10th lead change of the night. On board, you see the 88 car in front, and there comes Joey Logano by Kyle Busch. to reassume the lead with 25 laps to go.
Clear low, clear low.
Well, Logano was coming like a freight
Clear
train
about
right there.
one, clear about half. Inside the 20, inside.
So we've now had 7 different leaders, 10 lead changes here in the Dollar General 300, powered by Coca-Cola. And as we are approaching 20 laps to go, it's sort of like what happened at Kentucky.
It looks just like, it really does look just like Kentucky. Those cars were so close, it was unreal. And they look very, very similar tonight.
Well, right now, they don't look all that close. You see, just in a few laps now, Logano.
Whoa,
look at that. You see Keselowski.
He hit the, looks like he hit the wall.
Looks like what that's all about.
Yeah, those two are mad at each other. Something's going on there.
Now, we don't know if maybe they had a little earlier incident, but right there, they were really all over each other.
Let's watch again on the onboard camera for Keselowski.
He's all the way up against the rear bumper.
So he's pushing him. He's got him side.
Whoa, man.
You know what? I don't know if that was intentional or not. He's just kind of, what do you call it, bump draft him, just like you do Daytona and Talladega, and got a little out of control.
Think he was trying to help him?
Oh, I'm sure he was trying to help. Brad Keselowski showing 2 laps down in 15th position. Always a nice guy, Hindy.
Oh, yeah. Tell you what, though, the 18 car, Kyle Busch got in that wall pretty decent, you know. I mean, I don't think it's going to hurt anything, but he did smack it pretty good.
I don't think he liked that.
No, he doesn't like him at all.
Yeah, he just he says he doesn't have to worry about him now. He's in front.
20 laps to go here at Chicagoland. Now the 5 car, you look at the right side of the car, Ryan Newman had an issue with the wall just a few laps ago.
Right on the bottom of the racetrack, he's looking pretty good right now. Oh, the back end just steps out and he chases it clear up the track. Long chase.
See, he just gets the sheet metal. That's the good news. He didn't get the wheel. It didn't look like.
Hey, that's just a classic case of getting loose right there.
Wow,
I mean
loose.
Right rear got out from underneath that thing and he clobbered the wall.
I think the wall saved him, actually.
It really did. He came on the pit road and changed 4 tires. He's now being shown 3 laps down in the 21st position.
If that wall wasn't there, I think he would have went all the way around. Might still lose this rear bumper. You can see how it's shaking just a little bit.
19 laps to go. Joey Logano trying to pick up his 3rd win of the year and first ever at Chicagoland Speedway. $15 laps to go here at Chicagoland. We are under caution for the 2nd time tonight. Debris on the racetrack just out of turn 4. And we're going to see if the leaders will come on the pit road. Here comes Kyle Busch and the 32.
Stays out.
And
seconds of fuel, Brad. 2 seconds of fuel. Right side tires. 5, 4, 3 right here.
Joe Logano stayed on the racetrack.
20 stayed on the racetrack. Here goes Carl Edwards on pit road. Let's go down to Jamie.
Guys, you heard the audible. Right side's only for the 18. 2 seconds of fuel. They're going to see if they can make an impact here, see if it sticks.
Jamie, 2 seconds of fuel for Brian Vickers is also the call, and 2 tires for this 32 car. They are looking to hunt down the 20 and the 18. Dave.
Carl Edwards said his car is pretty good on the short run. Just a little wedge adjustment for him. They will take 2 tires as well. Kevin Harvick is on pit road, and Carl Edwards says, give me 4. I'll take all 4, and so will Harvick. Fresh rubber for the 60 and the 33.
Andy, you like that call on the 60 and the 33?
Yes, I do, because they weren't going to beat anybody out anyway, so why not get 4 right there? I like the call actually on the 18 and the 32 as well.
What about the 20 car staying out, though?
Nah, I don't like that one. I think that may have been a blown move there because now these guys are going to have fresh tires behind him.
I mean, Andy, they were outrunning about a second on new tires, so that had to be a bad move staying out.
They'll have to do it on old tires now.
This caution, a break for Trevor Bayne. We'll explain when we come back. Back at Chicagoland, 12 laps to go. Now, Joey Logano and Jason Leffler stayed on the racetrack. Logano is the leader, did not come in and take fresh tires. Let's listen to his radio.
So I'm the Lone Ranger here, huh? Sorry. Cool as tires, my fault. All right, we're going to be okay. Going to be good. Turned our fastest lap at the end of happy hour. Just to get them cool down.
That's a good selling job.
started to say that is a good selling job.
We'll see how it works out.
And by the way, everybody behind you has got brand new tires. Let's see what happens here. That's right.
Okay, remember the 4 tires are on Edwards and Harvick. The guys in front of them, Biffle, Vickers, and Kyle Busch, did not get 4 tires.
I'm telling you, we're setting up for a real scramble because we got the oldest tires in front, we got the 2 tires next, then we got 4 tires, and then lane choice. Rusty, what do you think about this choice of lanes for Logano?
Well, I like the outside lane, to tell you the truth. I like where Leffler's at because you can get all that momentum on the top side. The thing I'm concerned about now is that I think one thing that's going to be overpowering here is the adrenaline that's in these drivers' minds right now with 12 laps to go. I think they're just going to drive their brains out to try to get some positions, and that could cause a big wreck.
They waved off the start here, and they will make another lap here behind the pace car.
Yeah, they're trying to get them all lined up here. Looks like Stephen Wallace is lined up in the wrong spot. Now they're getting him back in the right position. It's just a little bit confusing on these double file restarts, especially with the lap cars where actually they line up.
Yeah, it's just a brand new deal here. Nobody knows where they need to line up on a racetrack, and that's one key thing that they'll figure out.
There are 11 cars on the lead lap. Jeff Burton got the free pass by virtue of the second caution flag tonight. I mentioned that Trevor Bayne got a break from this caution flag. He was staying on the racetrack from that previous fuel stop and was having to pit next time by when the caution came out. And by virtue of the yellow flag, he was able to pit under yellow. And now Trevor is being shown in 12th position. He is the first car a lap down.
No, that was a good move. I thought that car would have run out of gas for fuel. All right, the biggest thing I'm concerned about right now, those 2 guys in the front are on old tires, spinning the tires on a restart. That can happen. If they spin the tires on this restart and those guys behind them with those new tires, I mean, they could really stack them up. So if I was Joey and Leffler, I'd be wiggling those tires back and forth, spinning the rear tires, making sure I had positive grip getting forward because I don't want to make a mistake right there.
See, the lights are still on the pace car, so they're not going this time either.
See, Andy, the problem is when the tires are hot, it's going to pick up everything on the racetrack, and it's really hard. Although this track is not near as bad as short tracks because these tires are producing a lot of powder on the track. They're not really throwing a lot of rubber on.
It's not gummy.
It's not gummy like you see in a short track.
Remember, Carl Edwards definitely needs to lead some laps tonight, and there's Kevin Harvick. And he has won more than anybody here. Won 4 times at this racetrack, twice in the Cup car and twice in the Nationwide car. And he made the call to put 4 fresh tires on that stop.
And we've seen how aggressive Kevin Harvick has been on these restarts where he goes up high and makes them 3 wide. He's going to get aggressive right here with 10 to go.
Carl Edwards knows it's the second half of the season starting as of tonight, and he has got to be able to reel in Kyle Busch in terms of the point standings. He came in 172 points back of Busch because he has only won 1 race and Kyle has won 5. And Carl Edwards has not led the most laps in a single race this year, and Kyle has done it 11 times.
Well, he's got 4 tires on that car. He better get up on that wheel if he wants to beat that 18.
Oh, he's going to have to get up the wheel big time right now. I wish I could come up with a word that's going to explain this restart of this race. I mean, kamikaze, crazy. It's something like that's going to happen.
That's some of the words I used to call you.
I got you.
By the way, we all used to call him that. Let's see what's going to happen. Double file restart at Chicagoland Speedway. 10 laps to go. And Joey Logano has led 3 times for 86 laps. He did not pit. He stayed on the racetrack, he and Leffler. Behind him, the cars that put on 2 tires. Kyle Busch, Vickers, Biffle. Then comes Edwards and Harvick, who put on 4 tires.
We're going to have to get Brad Doherty to dream a name up for this restart. He'll come up with something next week. We'll have it for you. What is?
Run what you brung, baby.
What you brung, right? My thought was it depends where you are. One might be duck.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know about you guys down there. It's fixing to get crazy, guys.
Oh, it is. It's going to be great.
We're just going to watch and enjoy.
Absolutely.
Took Brad a moment. He had a mouthful of pizza to be able to answer you down there.
But he's been asking for that pizza all night.
He's bragging about it. I want a little bit.
All right, who's it going to be? Joey Logano? Could he hang on to get win number 3? Jason Leffler has not won this year. And after the frustrating finish last week at Daytona, trying to get into victory lane, trying to climb back into those point standings a little higher. Kyle Busch, the winningest driver on the season. Vickers, who hasn't won in 5 years. Biffle, the former champion, and Carl Edwards, who needs a victory big time to get back in this points race. Here they come.
Carl Edwards can't do that. He's going to get a penalty for that restart right there. It's not like it used to be.
And let's watch Leffler get into turn 1 and see if he clears him. See if he can get up alongside of him.
If he gives it back right here, they won't penalize him. He did give it back.
Look at this momentum on the top side with Leffler.
NASCAR says Carl Edwards is okay. He gave the position back. He will not be penalized. Now Logano on the bottom of the racetrack. He pulls Leffler by a car length. Here comes Kyle Busch.
Man, here he comes big time. He clears the 38, and now he's got Logano in his sights.
Vickers now all the way down on the apron of the racetrack.
9 laps to go.
No out of bounds at this racetrack. You see Kyle now working the momentum now, trying to get the momentum off turn 2. He's got him right here. He's got the position. He squeezes him off.
He's got to get it done quick, though, because these tires are good for about 8 laps of real fast speeds. Then they kind of level out.
And here comes Brian Vickers now on the inside. Watch the right side of your screen. There comes Vickers using the bottom of the racetrack.
Wow, unbelievable.
Logano, I cannot believe how he drove that car in the corner and it stuck.
I would have thought that new tires on the 18 car would just overhaul Logano. Doesn't look that way right now.
Still got 7 laps to go, and Logano somehow has now pulled away to about 7 car lengths over the 18 car. And look in your mirror, Kyle Busch. Here comes Brian Vickers.
Now, Brian gave the 18 a shot at 20. Now he's trying to get by the 18 so he can have a shot. But I cannot believe how good Logano's car is, even on old tires.
That thing is smoking out there right now. It's a fast race car.
I can't believe how good Joey Logano is on old tires.
He said, we'll be all right here. That's what he said there when they didn't make that pit stop for tires.
What a phenomenal young talent he is. 2 Joe Gibbs drivers running 1-2.
They tell me this is one of the hardest tires that NASCAR has brought to the racetracks. It's kind of a Charlotte-style tire. Very, very hard. Doesn't wear much and doesn't fall off and speed a lot. But that first 10 laps we saw all day are really quick. But right now, Andy, Logano is running some of the fastest times I've seen him run all day.
Yeah, what you see now is the oldest tires leading the race. 2 tires on the last stop running second, and all the way back to 5th is Harvick with the first car with 4 tires.
5 to go. Carl Edwards back in 6th position. And he is trying to hold off his teammate, Greg Biffle. There's the distance between Edwards and the car in front of him, Kevin Harvick.
One thing Logano's got going for him, he's got low fuel, which the car's not near as heavy, and it'll run a little bit faster like that.
Just amazing to me how fast he's able to run this car. It's right at 31 flat. A lot of cars didn't even qualify that fast.
Yeah, I mean, he is on the wheel right now. He knows that, hey, he would have rather had tires on it, but knowing what he knows right now, he's got to get out of Dodge, get away from Kyle.
I can't believe it, dude. He's driving away from me.
Yeah, we can't believe it either, Kyle.
Yeah, that's Kyle Busch talking, and I can't believe it either. Like you said, Andy, everybody's going to learn a lot. They're going to log that in their record books when they go home.
And he's doing
what happened.
And he's doing it with tires that are 36 laps older than what Kyle has.
We heard Dave Rogers do the selling job on his young driver, and he bought it, hook, line, and sinker. And here he goes, driving away from the field.
Like Harry Hogg in Days of Thunder, especially matched tires, you can make it work on the outside.
These are good.
3 laps to go here at Chicagoland Speedway. Are we going to see our 8th different winner in 9 races? If Joey Logano holds on, indeed, we will.
Logano is that time by 0.2 of a second faster and just blowing his doors off right now as far as speed.
2+ seconds. That's a separation in just the 7 laps since they've gone back to green. Logano over Kyle Busch.
This is an amazing stat right there that these 2 cars, not that they've run 1 and 2 in these races, but that Logano's 1, 2 to 3.
Well, I remember watching them at Dover, Delaware, how close they ran there, and then at Kentucky again. I see these 2 hooked up a lot.
White flag.
1 lap at Chicago, and now Kyle Busch has got to be focused and concerned about hanging on the 2nd spot. Joey Logano, who became the youngest winner in nationwide competition a year ago at Kentucky at the age of 18 years, 21 days. 2 weeks ago, he became the youngest winner in NASCAR Sprint Cup history at New Hampshire at 19 years, a month, and 4 days. And now coming out of turn 4, Joey Logano wins at Chicagoland Speedway.
You covered my butt. Thank you. Told you it wasn't going to be easy, but I told you you would win. Talk about that marriage thing later.
Hey, you heard Dave Rogers say, you covered me, dude.
No, we didn't take tires. So it's that much better.
Wow.
Same car that he won with at Kentucky, and this thing, give a call to Dave Rogers.
Thank you, buddy. You just made a 0 into a hero.
What a great team.
Let's go down to Shannon's Peak.
Well, down here with the winning crew chief, Dave Rogers. A little bit of nerves over the radio, Dave. Did you maybe doubt the decision not to come down and get tires?
Yeah, that was tough. I didn't think we'd get hung out by the whole field there, but man, Joey dug down deep. I knew our race car was really good. This GameStop Toyota was fast all day, and my driver's, he's on the wheel right now, so yeah, I'm ready to go to the bathroom, throw up. Man, I want to thank the good Lord. I was thinking I was going to look like a fool out there, and he took care of me and the rest of his Toyota race team, so I'm very thankful. Thank you.
How much does this win mean to you guys? This is the first win that Joey has gotten at a companion race.
I didn't think about that. Yeah, this is the first place that Joey's won that he hasn't tested a lot at, so every win means a lot. It means a lot to us, so very excited. Thanks to Doug Hewitt and all the guys back at the shop for preparing these fast race cars. Reggie Tucker, that's an awesome body. Everyone back at Joe Gibbs Racing, thank you.
Congratulations to Dave Rogers, Joey Logano, and this entire 20 team.
Third win of the year for Joey Logano, and the first ever 1, 2, 3, 4 finish in nationwide competition for Toyota. Back in a moment. The NASCAR Nationwide Series race here at Chicagoland Speedway is history, and we now have the 8th winner in 9 different races, and it's a young man from Connecticut, 19-year-old Joey Logano, who just impressed everybody, including his teammate behind him, by just driving away on those final 10 laps. Joey talking to his crew chief and saying, crew chief probably saying, I can't believe he did it either.
He's having a whale of a year. As a young kid like this, I mean, he's driving like a veteran, and I bet he's just pinching himself every night. What is going on with my life? Whoa, hold on.
Let's go down to Dave Burns.
I'm going to have to dodge the incoming. We already dodged the beverage. And now Joey freely handing out the high fives to a crew who obviously did a great job out there today preparing this car and getting you on and off of pit road. But talk about the end of this race when your crew chief made an interesting decision for you.
Yeah, we thought we got beat there at the end. Everyone pitted but us in the 38, so we were thinking the old GameStop Toyota was going to come home with a second at least. So the clean air is big. I tell you, this is the same car we won Kentucky with. This thing's just that good, and it's awesome to be racing with these guys. I got to thank GameStop, We Sport Resorts. I thank the fans, Coca-Cola, I have Sport Clips, everyone. This is an awesome victory. I tell you, this is it's cool, man. I just love this car.
Before your car came up to speed, you had to hold him off and down the backstretch really make it wide.
Yeah, that's for sure. You know, the last restart I got beat, and the restarts too. I don't know why. And you know, the final one, you know, 38 was able to hang with me and just drove it into 3 as hard as I can, hope for the best. And you know, once we kind of got a big enough gap, and you know, Kyle got in that 30 area, able to pull away pretty cool. So I was really surprised. I thought Dave thought I was done. I was like, we're not done yet. We're not done yet. But you know, and deep down inside, I really thought I was. But that's just awesome for these guys. You know, they come up second a few times, so it's cool to get a win.
Joey, there's an old saying, don't believe your own press, but a lot of people will look at this race and say you not only won, but you beat Kyle Busch. He's very good. He is your teammate. What does it mean to beat him?
It's awesome. If you look at every one of my victories, it's been a 1-2 finish between me and Kyle, so that's pretty neat. And even, you know, last race, New Hampshire, we finished first and set for 1-2, so that's awesome for Joe Gibbs Racing.
Joey Logano in victory lane again here at Chicago for the first time. Let's go to Mike Massaro.
It was another classic shootout between the Joe Gibbs Racing cars with Joey Logano going to victory lane. But Kyle, you gave it one heck of a shot. When was your best opportunity to try to get around Joey?
About 2 laps after the restart. If I could have gotten to his outside there, I might have had it. But just could never make the move on him. You know, his car was really strong tonight. Ours wasn't. And, you know, it just wasn't the best car. So Joey had that by far. And just unfortunate we had to settle for second tonight with the Z-Lines Designs Camry. You know, we want Jim was here tonight. We wanted to get the victory lane for him, and just wasn't meant to be.
6 consecutive races with your worst finish being second. How would you describe the run you're on right now?
Only one of those are a win, or maybe 2, but I don't know. Great points night.
It is a great points night, guys. Kyle Busch brings it home second.
And another good night for Carl Edwards as well. Finished 6th there. Let's talk about that restart, though. I just heard you apologize to Brian Vickers. What happened?
I just forgot that we had to stay in line until the start-finish line. I was like, man, he's giving me the outside. So, you know, it's taking me a little while to figure out the double foul restart. But I got down into one and had Lesky, my spotter's like, what are you doing, man? You got to get back in line. So I got behind Brian. But, I mean, you know, it was a good run. I thought we put on 4 tires there at the end, and I thought our ortho fusion would be a lot faster, but I drove it down in turn 3, and I was just too tight. So it's an okay night, but, you know, the bad thing is that Kyle finished, I guess, 2nd, so he's still stretching that points lead out. And, you know, we still were more competitive here than we've been for a while at a mile and a half, way better than Kentucky. So, you know, we'll just go to the next race, keep working hard, and my guys had good pit stops, and I'll figure out the restarts.
Hey, and he's been the king of poles so far. 5 so far this season. Carl Edwards will move on to St. Louis next week. Doc?
Thank you, Jamie. 5th pole of the year, a 6th place finish here tonight. We invite you to join us for NASCAR Now, presented by 5 Hour Energy tomorrow at 10 a.m. Eastern Time for the pre-race edition. Some NHRA action from Denver, Colorado. The Mopar Mile High qualifying tomorrow, 10 Eastern Time. And, of course, the finals on Sunday at 7 Eastern Time on ESPN2. IndyCar racing from Toronto. Marty Reed, Scott Goodyear, and all the group. 1 o'clock Eastern Time Sunday on ABC. And, of course, next week on Saturday night in St. Louis at Gateway, July 18th, 9 Eastern Time on ESPN2 for the NASCAR Nationwide Series.
NASCAR Nationwide Series at Chicagoland Speedway is brought to you by Nationwide Insurance, official auto insurance partner of NASCAR, and Toyota, moving forward.
Folks, if you enjoyed what you saw tonight for the NASCAR Nationwide Series, you can get a ticket to the race by tuning into our ESPN and ESPN2 coverage. We're at Gateway next week. ORP, Iowa Speedway, Watkins Glen, Michigan. There are tickets still available, by the way, in Bristol Motor Speedway. Always love the night racing there in the Thunder Valley. And, of course, for tickets, www.nascar.com/tickets. And by the way, we have more coverage coming here, but Sports Center is standing by to come up next, and we'll update all that's going on around the world of sports. Well, Joey Logano had some challenges tonight, and from a couple of teammates, Vickers and Leffler standing by with Jamie.
And teammates here talking about the night. Pretty good night for both cars, although you did have an issue with your car. Vibration, did they ever figure it out, Brian?
I haven't spoken to Trent about it yet. You know, we don't know. I have a lot of confidence in the pit crew. I don't think it was a loose wheel, but you can't rule that out. It could have been a wheel weight. It could have been, malfunction in the carcass of the tire that could have created the vibration as well.
You and Carl Edwards had a little talk. He apologized to you. What were you thinking when you saw him on the restart come to the outside?
I was thinking that's 2 weeks in a row that he's broken the rules and got away with it, and it's cost us the race. I don't know. I was like just baffled, to be honest with you. I don't know, 2 double file restarts. I thought it was very clear as to stay in line, and then jump to the outside, and he apologized, and I appreciate that. He said he forgot, but it definitely cost us a shot at the win. You know, it definitely slowed our momentum down. I thought we had a shot to get around the 18 going into turn 1, and being in the middle 3 wide didn't help.
Well, great job tonight. Finished 3rd tomorrow, starting on the pole and all front row for Red Bull. Congratulations. And Jason Leffler, great night for him as well. You guys mixed up the strategy there at the end, Jason. You guys were running top 6, top 7 the whole time. Tell me about that call. Were you happy with it?
Yeah, I mean, clean air is everything nowadays, and especially as close to the field is up front, and the way the tapered spacer is, so we don't have a lot of horsepower to pass. But the great clips, Camry was really good. Scott made a great call there. Guys did a great job on pit road, and everybody at Braun's doing a really good job. So hopefully everything's going to go our way here, and we're going to win one and get great clips back to victory lane.
The call was to stay out at the end, not take tires, and it paid off. Jason Leffler brings it home 4th. Mike?
And Kevin Harvick brings it home 5th. A solid night for you. How would you describe it?
Well, there at the end, I would describe it as kind of getting a butt kicking by the 20, but I felt like we were fast enough to run 2nd there with 4 tires at the end. But just got to thank everybody on this Jimmy John Chevrolet. We've made huge improvements on pit road. They had great pit stops all night. Just too loose getting in the corner. Before qualifying there after practice, we changed 3 springs, a spindle, every pickup point on the front of the car. So those were the first laps in race trim that we had. I feel like if we could have worked on it a little bit, we probably could have made it a little bit better. But great job by everybody just to put everything in there, not have anything drag the ground or any problems.
You mentioned those Joe Gibbs racing cars. They have been the class of the field for almost 2 years now. What's it like trying to beat them out there on the racetrack?
Well, the first thing I'm going to do is head to the inspection line and see if there's anything you can see. That's the best way is hard work and just trying to do something different that you normally don't do. But I've been on the other side of the fence too. I think we won 10 or 11 races one year in 2007, and when you got it all going and you got a little bit of an advantage, it's a lot of fun. So we'll go over there to the inspection line and see if there's anything we can check out.
A very curious Kevin Harvick, guys.
Mike, his 6th top 5 finish of the year. Now, after 18 races, the point standings look like this. Kyle Busch has gained another 20 points on Carl Edwards. Now the 192-point separation. Brad Keselowski, who had been climbing in on those top 2, now loses some spots. We'll explain why in a moment. You see Leffler there, the good finish. Logano has only run 15 of 18 races, yet he is 5th overall in the point standings. And, of course, Jason Keller rounding out the top 10. Let's go down and talk to Brad Keselowski with Shannon.
Down here with Brad Keselowski, 18th place finish. Now we know that you guys had some fuel issues earlier in the race, but the real drama came a little bit later. What was going on with you and the 18 of Kyle Busch?
Well, I was racing him really, really hard, and I'm sure he wasn't happy with that. But if I could have got a yellow right there while I was in front of him, I'd have been back in the game, back in the race. So I had to do everything I could do, and it looked like it cost him the lead, but I think the 20 car was better, quite frankly, to be honest. So. It looked like it made him upset, and he went down the corner and chased me in there, and he just was trying to take out his frustration. But it was just a rough night for us with the fuel issue, but we had a fast car. We made a great adjustment on the first stop, had something for him. Not probably as good as the 18 and 20, but probably could have ran third tonight. So just one of those nights.
Long night for Brad Keselowski in the Nationwide Series, but he has one more chance at it tomorrow in the Cup Series.
So Joey Logano celebrating in victory lane, his 3rd win of 2009. Guys, your thoughts on what we saw here tonight?
I was just blown away how good Joey ran on those old tires. It just proved to me that the tires were really good tonight, really durable. They ran long, didn't lose a lot of speed deep into the run. Now, they fell off early, and then it pretty well stabilized.
Well, these other guys have some work to do. Kevin Harvick said, going over to the tech line and see if he can learn anything. They're going to have to burn some midnight oil if they're going to beat these Gibbs cars, I can tell you that.
Joey Logano is still doing the hat dance, taking pictures with the trophy after scoring the win tonight here at the Chicagoland Speedway, a race that started in late afternoon under beautiful sunny skies after some weather earlier today threatened qualifying. Qualifying did happen. Carl Edwards got the pole and led the field to the green flag with Brian Vickers outside of him. Logano started 3rd. It didn't take long for things to get exciting for David Reagan.
Yeah, David got a little sideways coming off, got into the wall, and that finished his day.
David wound up finishing 34th on this night. With some heavy damage to that car. Lead change, Logano showed the front.
Yeah, Carl Edwards thought he was going to be really strong throughout the day. Joey Logano, though, just got to him. Carl led about 17 laps up to that point, and when Joey got to the front, he didn't want to relinquish.
The Joe Gibbs Racing drivers ended up leading 174 of 200. A little bit of fuel drama here for both Brian Newman and Brad Keselowski. Green flag pit stops and a long green flag run to start the race, and they ran out.
Both of these guys miscalculated on their fuel mileage, and it cost them dearly today's race.
Kyle Busch's pit crew, one of the stars of the show. This the first set of pit stops. They came in running 3rd, came out running 1st. First set of caution flag pit stops. This is lap 93, and Kyle went to the point here just before halfway.
They've really been outstanding all year. Great combination of super pit crew and Kyle Busch.
So Logano chases. Finally, with 25 to go, catches Kyle Busch.
Just had a feeling, Alan, that he was going to be able to run him down today and catch up with him. And once he got to him and got by him, it was Katie bar to door, baby.
And I give you credit. You did say that to me off the air. Caution came out with 14 laps to go. To pit or not to pit, well, the difference between the speed of fresh tires and old tires probably dictated you pit. But for some reason, Logano's team decided not to, and they thought they were sitting ducks for the restart. But when that restart came, somehow, driver that 20 was able to hustle it up, stay ahead of Kyle Busch, and run on to the win.
He did an outstanding job on those old tires, along with Jason Leffler, who finished 4th. Both of those guys thought they were going to be sitting ducks, but strong hot rod for that number 20, Joey Logano tonight.
Only 2 cautions for 11 laps tonight, resulting in a new record speed for a Nationwide Series race here at Chicago, 147.3 mile an hour average. And for Joey Logano, the victory tonight again. Quite a season for him, his 3rd in 15 races. races so far this year. You know, when you look at the record books for this Chicago race, it's full of oddities, all these little statistical tidbits. And we talked about some of them at the top of the night. Again, the driver leading laps 1 and 2 didn't win the race.
Didn't win.
That was Carl Edwards. Again, the driver leading it halfway didn't win. That was Kyle Busch. And again, the pole winner or the outside front row starter didn't win. That was Carl Edwards and Brian Vickers. Logano started third and wound up in victory lane. Interesting perspective from Kevin Harvick there about the dominance of the Joe Gibbs drivers.
Yeah, I mean, we kid every week about how dominant these race cars are and how they're just kicking everyone's rear end. And Kevin Harvick said, man, he's going to go over the inspection line, take a peek, see if he can learn something and apply it to what he's doing. I think everyone in the garage area should be huddled around those race cars taking a look because those cats got it figured out.
And next week for the Nationwide Series, it's on to the 1 1/4 Gateway International Raceway outside of St. Louis. A Saturday night race, always hot, steamy conditions, and we'll see what unfolds in that one.
Oh, that'd be great. Scott Wimmer had a great finish tonight, Alan. He started way in the back of the field, ended up finishing 15th, and also Mr. Bain, Trevor Bain, did a great job finishing 12th.
So Joey Logano overcomes what was perhaps a little strategy hiccup and rolls to the victory tonight here at Chicagoland Speedway. Threatening weather from earlier today never materialized tonight. Great conditions under which the race was run, and while some struggled, including at times Logano's pit crew, in the end, he wound up on top when the checkered flag waved. Don't forget, tomorrow at 1 Eastern time on ABC. Make that Sunday at 1 Eastern on ABC. It's the IndyCar Series in Toronto and the Nationwide Series next week. Coming up next is Sports Center, including a Fenway Pitchers Duel you'll want to see. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports.